Let us open our mind.
I know leadership don't need to run. Love don't need retaliation. If we don't stop, if they parade, they celebrate. Eat caviar, drink champagne. If they parade, they celebrate. At the death of a child, of a slave. I'll never say, hey, yeah, remember your forefathers' tears, the lives which was lost for us to see peaceful years. When shots stop, who remains flat? If they parade, they celebrate. Eat caviar, drink champagne. If they parade, they celebrate. At the death of the child of a slave. Proper thought. Open our mind. We don't stop. Open our mind. The child of a slave. Proper thought. Open our mind.
Peace, folks, and welcome back to another edition of the Proper Thought series right here on the old T.P.O.T YouTube page. I'm your host, X, of course, but you knew that already. That's why you are here. Now, y'all know it's Wednesday night, and Wednesday nights, y'all already know it's the
Hours of power. Hours of power. Hours of power. Hours of power.
Yeah, y'all know we come up here every Wednesday night and I interview some of these YouTube brothers up here on the old T.P.O.T YouTube page. And I picked their brain for an hour and we got a good lineup tonight, y'all. I got my man, brother Theron coming on. I got Black Avenger TV coming on and brother Aaron Collins. But before we get started, you know, I always got to come on with thanking y'all for your generous donations. Because like I always say, I know y'all get tired of me saying this, but I'm going to say it every time I come on the air. You don't have to spend your hard-earned coins on this platform, but you choose to do so. And for that, I am grateful. Everyone who donates to this channel, you know who you are, because I always sit down, write you a personal email, not a computer-generated email, thanking you for your contribution. And those of you who are familiar with me, I talk shit to you at the same time. So once again, I am humbled and I'm honored, and I appreciate the fact that you appreciate this platform and continue to support it with your coins. So once again, I thank you. So let's get right into it, because starting off, my opener is my man, brother Theron Williams. Full disclosure, me and brother Theron, we are like cool. I've actually met the brother in real life. You know, that thing that most of us don't do. I actually have met this brother in real life. We actually hung out. Because y'all, those of you who know brother Theron, he's a trucker, and he was in the Queen City one day, and I went on down there. We met up, we taped, we filmed. I got in this damn truck, went to get out of it, damn near broke my leg and all that kind of stuff. So what's good, brother Theron?
Nothing much. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm all right, man. I'm all right. Just hustling and everything, man. Had to switch the game up last year, and ended up leaving, going to a different company, much better company, getting a larger percentage of the load or whatever, because I'm the one doing all the damn work anyway. Got my my broker's license and everything, so I can start brokering freight, and starting to get my feet wet or whatever, dabbling into that and everything right now, booking freight for other companies, for other drivers or whatever, trying to get them the best rate, making money on the back end. So when I'm driving, a majority of the time now, I'm actually on the phone calling in different cities or whatever, trying to broker freight. So I, trying to step the game up, spending more time with my family and everything too. Daughter and everything, she's getting older, man. Wife, she good. So can't complain, man. Life is good. LG,
Okay. Well, I know you stay on the road a lot, so I appreciate the fact that you actually came on tonight, because I know you constantly on the road. I mean, that's the life of a big rig trucker. So I appreciate that, brother. When the next time you come to the Queen City, man?
Bruh, I go through North Carolina, man, all the time. My thing is like right now or whatever, I had to set aside and allocate different funds to different things or whatever. Like getting started, I had to come up with so much money or whatever as far as insurance policy and everything was concerned. You got to get a $75,000 bond. So I be in cities or whatever, man, but a majority of the time, if I ain't calling, I'm asleep. You know what I'm saying? And if I'm not asleep, I'm driving. You know what I'm saying? So the kind of kick it time or whatever, man, is just not it's not there anymore. But it's for a good cause. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna be forever. It's for a good cause. So I can't, like I said, I can't complain. Can't, for sure. When I come through though, I'll definitely hit you up though, for sure. When I can
absolutely. I ain't getting in your damn truck again, though, man. I'm old. I can't be jumping up and down like that, boy. These old bones is rickety, brother.
Right.
Well, let me go ahead and ask you the question that I ask all the brothers. The one question that I ask everyone: what brought you to YouTube, brother? What made you say, okay, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel and start? Because you do a lot of editing, and your cinematography is like top notch official. What brought you to YouTube in the beginning?
You know what? It was a creative stretch, man. I got bored being out here on the road, man. Back in the day, I was an editor, man, online for Elance and Odesk. And I had edited a few, video projects, and people, I'd never had rights to them. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like I could take the work or whatever and put it somewhere else or whatever and say edited by. I would do the work or whatever, and I really wasn't getting any credit for it. So started doing it, on YouTube or whatever for myself after I had put up a video about the situation or whatever with the first truck that I purchased. I was actually in North Carolina, as a matter of fact, stranded on the side of the road, man. I had to get towed about 150 miles, and pulled out my little camera phone, man, and made this video explaining what happened. And that video actually is still up on YouTube to this day. I think this was like 3 or 4 years ago now. And that video has almost 30,000 views. And the comments and everything that, came up under the video or whatever were along the lines of, man, I was about to go and purchase this truck or whatever, the same brand, same truck or whatever. They offer me all of these incentives and all of these warranties. I can't thank you enough for me watching this video. You have absolutely no idea. You could just go down the road, man, and people reached out to me or whatever, man, and they were thanking me or whatever, because they were about to make the same mistake I did. And what I was going through at the time, you know, just starting out, getting my MCL number and everything else, I wouldn't wish that shit on nobody. Like I had to take all the lumps, you know what I'm saying, starting out. So that was initially what it was, man. But I find what I do boring. It's freeing to me because I'm not in an office, so to speak, but I find what I do boring. So what I wanted to do was show the life of, you know, being off of the truck. You know what I'm saying? So I started doing the vlog style vlogs. You know what I'm saying? Where I go to a major city, pull out the camera, and just start shooting, you know, narrating and everything else, talking about what's going on, this, that, and the third. So if I say what brought me to YouTube, it doesn't have anything to do with fame. It doesn't have anything to do with money. I just like the creative process. Problem is that what I was creating was starting to get redundant and kind of boring to me. You know what I'm saying? And once I got bored, kind of pulled back a little bit from making the videos. But if I wanted to make videos that was just strictly based on trucking and what you need to do this and what I can do that. Do I want to? No. No, I don't. I don't. There's a million videos out there like that, man. If you got questions or whatever, just ask me. I'll tell you. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's why.
So, as far as trucking, you know, because obviously you're a successful trucker. Would you advise other brothers to, you know, get into trucking and the trucking businesses? Is that something you would advise other brothers to do?
Absolutely. Without a doubt. I would say more so because it gives you the exact same freedom as you have in a nursing license or anything else. Literally, you can go anywhere in the United States and find a job. I don't care where it is. If you say you want to move to California or whatever, and you're a single man, young fellow, or whatever, and you want to move to California, but ain't no jobs out there, but you have a CDL, you can go out there and get a job. I get calls. I just got a call or whatever a few weeks ago or whatever from this company that hauls rocket parts from NASA that wants me to do it, making 10 grand a week. My wheelbase on this truck is not long enough for me to do that, and so it would require a major investment. I just made a major investment or whatever, starting my brokerage. So maybe doing that somewhere down the line or whatever would be, you know, sufficient or decent. But for right now, I'm comfortable with doing what I'm doing, at least until my kid is out of college. But absolutely, I would suggest that, you know, at least get your CDL, get out here and see what it's like. My situation was when I first started driving trucks was a lot different than a lot of people's. Like I had my CDL for almost 7 years before I was able to even get on with the company for me to start driving. I walked around with my CDL for that long because I was out here, man. I was wilding out. I was really on some other shit and ended up getting into some shit that my ass couldn't get me out of. And make a long story short, man, we fast forward or whatever, man. I finally got the opportunity to get behind the wheel, and I thought I was gonna hate this shit. Honestly, I can't see myself doing nothing else because I decided to make a business out of it, and that's the difference. You know what I'm saying? A lot of guys or whatever, they're making cents on the mile or dollars on the mile. They're not going for the percentage. They don't know the route to go. There's a lot of different avenues. You know, you got flatbed, you got refrigerated, you got dry van, then you got like long haul, you got specialty parts, you got government loads. It's a lot of different avenues that people don't know about unless they get into the industry. You know what I mean? So I would suggest if you are, you know, financially challenged, if school is not an option, which it is for me. I mean, I've gone to school. I was a wrestler at Clarion University. I played football at Clarion University, transferred to University of Pitt. I went to Arizona State. I went to Wayne State University, Henry Ford Community College. So I'm college educated. I'm not stupid. You know what I mean? But sitting behind this wheel or whatever, you'd be surprised how many people will try to play you as being intellectually inferior for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? There's for some reason there's a direct correlation between stupidity and driving trucks, and I'm neither. You know what I mean? But that's neither here nor there. I would suggest that if you were looking for something different and you were willing to travel, willing to put in the time, willing to put in the work, do it. At least try it. And if nothing else, hold on to the license because you never know what could happen down the line where you may need employment. You know, everybody's talking about, well, automation is going to put y'all out of business. Man, there was a woman last year that was killed by one of the cars in Arizona. with that automated driving stuff. Everybody says that we're, 10, 12 years or whatever from it. Well, actually, I think we're a lot farther from it. You know what I'm saying? That's just me personally, because there's a difference putting a system in place that is of automation where everyone can work on what's already out here. Not everyone can work on what they're trying to implement into the system. The cost to repair is astronomical. And then it's also a thing of whatever, can the companies actually afford it too? So I'm thinking that we're more so around like maybe 20, 22 years away. They got, the self-driving trucks that are completing trips right now in prime weather conditions, but it's flat land, ain't no snow, there's very little traffic. They go at optimal times of the day. There's a lot that goes into it. So I don't know, but yeah, I do it. I do it.
So why do you think more brothers aren't into trucking, or is it a field that a lot of brothers are in? I mean, I know when I was growing up, my old man, he drove trucks, for a while. And when he was driving trucks, I didn't see that many, brothers driving, it was more white folks. So is it a field that brothers are heavily in?
I see a lot of brothers or whatever that are in it, but they don't invest in it. I see a lot of them come and go. I see a lot of them pretty much, and I hate to say it, being satisfied with mediocrity, with just scratching the surface of what is actually possible. You know what I mean? And that's the God's honest truth. Even when you talk in terms of whatever of money, I make as much money in a week as most people bring home in a month. And that's the God's honest truth. You know what I'm saying? My average is anywhere between 2,700 and 3,200 a week. And it costs, money or whatever as far as fuel and maintenance and everything else. But when you're making, that type of money or whatever and paying very little in taxes because your overhead, if you bringing home, $2,700 a week, $3,000 a week, man, your overhead or whatever to run just in fuel alone is going to cost you around exactly the same. You know what I'm saying? So you can send them anywhere between 10 to 20% as far as your taxes, but you'll get maybe 10% of that back. You know what I'm saying? As far as a refund is concerned. So I would say that brothers or whatever, they barely scratch the surface. A lot of them have families at home. A lot of them don't have a lot of support from the families at home either. And that's key. You know what I'm saying? I was at a time in my life or whatever where I didn't really have anybody around. I didn't have a wife at home. We were separated, and my daughter or whatever, she was in school or whatever. But I'm trying to do the right things or whatever to bring money into the house versus that bullshit that I was doing before. So it was a whole, like, my whole shit just switched up. You know what I'm saying? And people couldn't believe it at first, especially, those that I was out here with, you know what I'm saying? They really couldn't believe it at first. But, I think that the largest thing, though, is a support thing. You have very little support. This is not a glamorous job. You're not going to be accepted socially. You're not in many social circles. You know what I'm saying? So the social acceptance is one thing or whatever, but the economic acceptance, as long as you're dealing with a person who actually does what they say that they're going to do, you should be just fine. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's levels to the shit. Most brothers, they don't scratch the surface. And I'm sad to say they don't. They don't.
Wow. Well, let's talk about you a little bit, brother. Let me pretend like we haven't had this conversation before. Where are you from? I mean, where do you call home? Where do you call home? I know you all over the country, but where do you call home?
I'm from Detroit originally, and then my mom's got married, and we ended up moving to Ohio, and played a little high school ball or whatever. And I kept getting in trouble there when I first got started, and I ended up moving to Georgia. Then I moved to Tennessee. Then I moved back to Detroit. Then when they start talking all that scholarship stuff, you know what I'm saying, I ended up going to Ohio and calming down or whatever a little bit, at least enough to get my ass into college. I played ball at Clarion University. You know what I'm saying? I played corner, Division II. I wrestled up there. I walked on their wrestling squad. I actually wrestled, went to school with Frankie Edgar. He's the fights in the UFC. And so that was that. I didn't like college because college to me was largely a waste of time. I thought that it would be different. I thought that I would learn how to function, function as far as a financial thing or whatever, man. But everything I think I learned about making money or whatever, managing, budgeting, running my business and everything, I didn't learn none of that shit in college. I think for me, it was a ripoff. It was a unappreciative ripoff. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that I know that now has college degrees, they're in so much debt, man, that even if they're making $100,000 a year, it doesn't even matter. I know people making damn near $200,000 a year that can't get a loan for a house. You know what I'm saying? Off them damn college degrees, male and female alike. It's a cruel joke. So, and it's getting much, much worse. But, you know, saying all of that or whatever, man, I bounced around or whatever for a minute, went to Arizona, lived in Florida, lived in Texas, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, obviously. Yeah, I done bounced around a lot, man. A whole lot.
Well, let's talk about this media junk, man. What's your take on media, the state of media right now? You know, not just YouTube, but you know, media in a whole. What's your take on it?
I think it's garbage. For the most part, I think that you get more of what is actually real, more of what concerns your core group of people when you start associating with like-minded group of people. And unfortunately, the only way to do that, you can't listen to, you know, mainstream media or whatever. YouTube is probably the best tool for that. You know what I'm saying? You can go on or whatever, brothers like yourself, you know, O'Shea, Angry Man, you know, address different things or whatever as far as, you know, travel, lifestyle, education, money, thought processes, how to get from point A to point B, child support. I think that people need to be more so involved in the media or whatever that concerns them versus a whole bunch of shit or whatever from a bunch of 1%ers jerking themselves off to nothing at all. You know what I'm saying? That's why I, you know, support Angry Man and O'Shea the way that I have or whatever in the past or whatever, because I think that those two brothers are really doing their thing along with yourself. You know what I'm saying? You got a small audience, as do I. You know what I'm saying? But it's just I think it's a shell of what it used to be. I think at one time or whatever, media was there for us to truly be informed, and now media is only there to tell us what we want to hear, and it's sad. You know what I mean? Instead of, you know, telling us what we want to hear, if you tell us the truth, I think everyone would be a lot better off. You just don't get that anymore.
Agreed. Couldn't have said that better than myself, man. What a lot of people don't know. I mean, subscribe to Brother Theron's channel, and I suggest if you go ahead and you look down here in the description box right here, you can see where you can go ahead, click my brother's channel, subscribe. You need to subscribe because you don't subscribe to my man's shit. Stop watching my shit. I've said this before. Stop watching my shit if you ain't gonna subscribe to my man's shit. All right. What y'all probably don't know, because y'all haven't met the brother, I have. He's a real cool brother, man. He's just like cool the way he is right now. He's just like this in real life, man. He's the same exact way in living color. He's the same exact freaking way. I'm telling you, it's a real cool brother. I say once again, look down there, get on down to his channel and freaking subscribe right now. Do it now. Yeah. Now let's talk about your filming, because I'm always been a fan, man. Ever since I started watching you, I've always been a fan of your editing, you know, your cinematography, man, the angles, you know, the way you kind of, you know, slice, you know, the way you splice the damn scenes, man. I mean, I wish I could do my shit like that. I mean, what are you self-taught? with the editing and the cinematography, or did you learn that in school, or what?
Well, honestly, man, I was an Alfred Hitchcock kind of kid when I was younger. Um, a lot of the old heads or whatever turned me on to Alfred Hitchcock because he used to use and omit entire scripts in order to use camera movement to tell his stories. So one of the best movies that's out right now is that movie by John Krasinski, which is The Quiet Place. If you watch that movie, there's very little dialogue. The movie is basically told with camera movement. You know what I'm saying? The way it's cut, the way it's edited, the way it's filmed, the way it's framed. You can tell a lot by the way something or whatever is filmed and framed or whatever, and you can actually use those elements or whatever and pull those things out for storytelling. So he's probably one of the closest that I've seen, um, as far as using camera movement to tell the story. There's another old movie, is a western called Shane, where they use the exact same thing. The original Psycho, that movie or whatever used a lot based on camera movement. Even Shaft, I'm sorry, not Shaft, Superfly was the exact same way. Very little dialogue. That's why if you notice, when you watch it and you'll pay attention to it, a majority of the movie is spent with him driving around in his car. You know what I'm saying? That's all camera movement. That's all angles. And when he gets out, it's very little dialogue. It's more so camera movement than anything else. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a visual person. I'm a visual learner. So I might as well use the vlog or whatever as visually as I possibly can to tell the story. And that's why I do it the way I do. And yeah, I'm self-taught. I know how to use Premiere Pro. I know how to use After Effects. I know how to use iMovie. I know how to use ScreenFlow. I know how to use Camtasia. I know how to use uh, DaVinci. I also know how to use my newest one, LumaFusion. So yeah, I'm okay. I'm all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
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 I'm all
your
right.
shit's good, man. I look at that shit, I'll be like, God damn, how the hell did he do this shit? Damn it. Make me want to step my shit up, because iron sharpens iron, steel sharpens steel. I look at that shit and I'll be like, God damn. But see, me, I used to do a lot of photography.
Mhm.
Now I really don't. It's all, freaking graphics and a bunch of nonsense. It's not where I'm like actually taking photographs and filming live shit. Number one, I don't have time. Number two, I'm never nowhere where shit is really happening at. So there's never really, I do some traveling because I travel up and down the East Coast every few months, but there's never shit that's worth filming. And I take all my camera equipment with me, because I got a few cameras. Like when I came to see you, I had my
Right.
camera equipment and my tripod and all that shit. But the only thing worth filming was you. There wasn't really, there was nothing really, to film or nothing like that. So I don't really do a lot of that shit anymore. People go back into my early archives, they'll see that kind of shit. But you look now, it's mostly live streams and pre-recorded videos with graphics and shit. So, I mean, but when I see you, I mean, it's like, just like you said, your images, okay, and your freaking scene changes kind of tell the story, man. And when you make a video, now I already know the answer to this because I fuck with this stuff too. When you make one of those videos that you make, how long does it usually take you to do the editing and shit? How long does it take?
uh
Say
Man,
a 10-minute video. How long does it take for just the editing and all that kind of stuff?
a 10-minute video edited how I edited or whatever when I shoot it will probably take me around 5.5 to 6 hours to edit.
Yep. That's what I was gonna say. 6 hours.
Yeah.
People don't know, man, how much time goes into this shit. They
Yeah.
get up here and they watch it. It's 10 minutes, but that shit took 6 hours to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took 6 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I mean, even, the small stuff or whatever, I don't know. I love doing it. I wish I'm a victim of time constraints like yourself. You know what I mean? My time or whatever, I used to have an abundance of it but it's kind of like the dude Big Meech said, you know, not to be quoting no gangsters or nothing like that, but he did say this shit. Either you got money and no time, or time and no money. Can't have both. You know what I'm saying? So I still, you know, like to get off the truck. I still like to do the stuff. I mean, I still keep my stuff right back here behind my seat. You know, the same spot it was in before. And you know, when I have an opportunity, I shot last November in Nashville. Man, pictures came out great. They on my Instagram, and got a lot of love for the photos and everything too. But I ain't had time to shoot since. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Real.
Well, what a lot of people don't understand, Brother Theron, is that, you know, many of us brothers, you know, we're all, you know, we're on YouTube and shit like that, you know, have a channel with videos and shit on it. But, you know, many of us brothers actually have a job, okay, off of YouTube. I mean, there's brothers on here who make a living at this, and more power to them. But see, me and I know you are not one of those brothers. Okay, we got to do other shit to keep our house and our car and keep the lights on and pay for this internet shit and buy these microphones and cameras and shit like that. You know, you got to do other shit. You know, and I think a lot of people take that for granted. We talked about this last week, and we talked about how everyone's always talking about, oh man, YouTube is free. Yeah, it's free for you to watch, but the shit that these brothers do is not free. Yeah, it's not free. And microphones, computers, and cameras, and mixed boards, and sound cards, and you know, all that shit cost money.
Yeah.
Okay. And I always say, when we start getting on YouTube, all of us start with 1 subscriber. Why? Because we started out with 0 subscribers when we first came on. So all the shit that I know, me, and I talked about this last week too, I got all of this stuff before, okay, I was getting any donations, before I was getting any super chats, before I was getting any PayPal donations. All this shit I already had. I was doing this shit when I wasn't getting donations. So more money goes into it, man, than comes out of it for brothers like me. Okay. More money goes into it for the damn equipment you buy and the cameras and the time. And guess what? Internet ain't free, and neither is the damn lights in my damn place. That ain't free. That ain't free either. So, you know, usually more money goes into it than comes out of it. What I noticed though, often, and I want to ask you about this, do you think that on this media shit, do you think that some of us kind of take the shit too seriously? Do you think are we too wrapped up in this shit? Are we too emotionally tethered to media and YouTube and all that stuff? You think we too attached to it?
If you are passionate or whatever about what you do, you're supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? I think that if you weren't, shit, I'll be looking at you cockeyed and crooked, especially if you're trying to, you know, make a go at it, a serious go at it. You know what I mean? And for those brothers or whatever who step out on, you know, faith or whatever it is that you step out on in order to get from A to Z or whatever in anything that you're doing, you know what I'm saying? I think that it should be commended and also supported. I don't give a fuck if it's a chick or a dude that's doing it. You know what I'm saying? If you willing to, you know what I'm saying, put your neck out there and get it cut, you know what I'm saying? Whatever happens, happens. You know, I think that it should be commended, like I said, and I think that it should be supported. Taking it seriously is something that actually needs to take place. You should be passionate about what you create. It's hard as fuck to be creative. You know what I'm saying? It's hard as hell or whatever to sit down and come up with an idea, elaborate on that idea, get it across to an audience and have it make sense. That shit is difficult. You know what I mean? And then the more complex the idea that you attempt to relay, the more and more thought that goes into it. It's not just getting on, cutting on the damn microphone or whatever and talking shit. You know what I'm saying? The shit you're talking comes from somewhere. It stems from something. Obviously, something struck a nerve enough for you to want to sit down and elaborate on it. and you need to elaborate on that shit to the best of your ability. So fucking real, you need to be passionate about it. Now, I don't think that it's overbearing, or it's wrong, or you guys should not, or these people or whatever who are creating content should not be compensated. I think it's fucked up that YouTube is taking away so many tools that you guys are not, you know what I'm saying, being compensated the way that you were before in the past. I don't give a damn if you're a white creator, black creator, Hispanic, green, yellow, purple. I don't care. You know, if you got the balls or whatever, get on here on camera. I think that you deserve something for it, because not everybody can do the shit. It's a very, very, very small group of people or whatever who partake in it. Even though YouTube is a massive platform, the actual creators who are on here, who are, you know, constantly doing content and who are successful, is a very, very small percentage. You know what I'm saying? Most people get on here and make videos or whatever that will never see the fucking light of day. No one, you know what I'm saying? So if you're able to connect to an audience, start a movement, get people involved, everybody wants to feel as if they are part of something. And if you are able, you know what I'm saying, to provide that value, that meet that unmet need, so to speak, then shit, you need to be passionate about what you're doing. Straight up.
About it that, you know, YouTube, to be exact, may not be here for us too much longer, because, you know, YouTube may be traveling in another direction. And, you know, a lot of us, you know, black folks who are on YouTube, you know, we may find ourselves, you know, pushed to the side, you know, because now they got the speech police and they got people on here who watch, look for certain titles and, you know, strike your video and all this kind of nonsense, you know, for the most infinitesimal things. Where do you see YouTube going in the next 5-10 years? Do you think that it's going to be we're going to kind of be pushed to the side and going to have to find somewhere else to go to do, you know, what we do?
Honestly, man, YouTube can kiss my ass. I can give a fuck about YouTube. And the reason, and I'm not saying that to be, you know, malicious or whatever. What I'm saying is this: I think that the content creators need to own their own content to begin with. YouTube provided a platform for the content creators to grow an audience, nothing more. The fact that you're able to house these things on here, that's great. That's wonderful. Eventually, you're going to have to absorb the cost in order to do so. I had made a video a few months back about Amazon S3 and uploading videos from Amazon S3 over to your own personal websites. You know what I'm saying? Where you can do the same damn thing that YouTube is doing, except you keep everything in house, move your audience from one area to another. And I think Amazon S3 even allows for streaming, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me, but I think that it does. I think there's a platform in there for streaming or whatever, as long as you have ISO, OBS, I think is what it's called, or something like that, where you can either do it live or you can do pre-recorded stuff, kind of like what you got going on right now. You know what I'm saying? It's the same exact thing, except you just host the videos on your website and it requires an out-of-pocket cost. Not nearly as much as people think either. It's like less than a fraction of a penny for every view. You can get 20,000 views, man, on a video and pay less than $20 a month. You know what I'm saying? It's just that, you know, people are ill-informed or whatever as far as what to do as far as media platforms and sources and everything like that. And even optimizing videos or whatever off this platform, there's an entire video script that's actually available, embedded into the actual video itself in the source code. You can get to it from Mac and you can also get to it from PC by right clicking. You can optimize your entire damn video, including adding description, caption, and everything. It's exactly like YouTube. Put it on your own host, upload it, and then it's available for your audience. It's just, yeah, I mean, I don't, so like I said, man, fuck YouTube. I think you guys are here. I'm here. You know, grow your following, grow your audience, use this platform the same way that this platform has used you. You know what I'm saying? No different than, fighters in the UFC. Fighters in the UFC are always complaining or whatever about what the UFC is not doing for them and how they're not being paid accordingly. No, motherfucker, UFC is there to provide you the audience. It is up to you to take that audience and therefore go and monetize it. You know what I'm saying? So, YouTube, go away, stay. I don't really give a shit. I don't care. And you shouldn't either. You shouldn't either. You know what I'm saying? If you're here to grow what it is that you're here to grow that shit and take it with you. Fuck them. That's just how
Yeah,
I feel about it.
I agree. I mean, I think, and I know many brothers and yourself would agree that we need more black male media anyway. I mean, that's something that we need. What I have been doing, I've been uh I've been uploading my stuff to Black Avenger. Black Avenger is YouTube-esque, and it's ironic because I'm the person who runs Black Avenger TV is coming on right after you. So we're gonna get into that. I've been loading some stuff. I only got about, I think, 10 or 11 videos up there. I need to take the time and put some more up there. And I tout it. I tell brothers, take your shit when you make it on YouTube. Go ahead, download your streams off of YouTube. Keep that shit. Start you an account on Black Avenger, because Black Avenger, it's YouTube-esque. It's the same kind of deal. Except you don't got the censorship, you don't got the flagging, you don't got all that kind of nonsense. You know what I'm saying? So I
Uh-huh.
mean, I advise brothers all the time: go ahead, man, take your shit, download it, upload that shit to Black Avenger. You don't have to worry about flagging and all that kind of nonsense.
Right.
So I mean, I tout it all the time. Um, because we do need more black male media, man. We need more outlets so we can say what we want to say, because that's what it all comes down to, man. It all comes down to freedom of speech. I mean, your stuff get flagged because you done said something that somebody don't like. Your
Mm,
stuff get flagged because you got people who don't like the fact that you have a following. Your stuff get flagged because you're making a few coins and people don't like that. So you're always open to that.
right.
Especially as your channel gets bigger. Your channel gets bigger, you're making a few coins, you got a big audience, people know who you are. It's just a matter of time before somebody's trying to come at you with some old nonsense, you
Right.
know. And I know, because I've kind of felt it myself now that my channel has grown. I mean, it was a time when, I only had 25 subscribers. Now I'm right up under 2,000. So, it's making its way to where I'm already starting to catch heat from
Mm,
this one, that one, and everybody. These freaking adversarial people, just adversaries for no damn reason. So let me ask you about that. Do you have adversaries, on your media? People call them trolls. I mean, I think that's kind of a overused term, but I call them adversarial people who are adversarial for no good damn reason. Do you have any of that on your media, like your YouTube channel or your Instagram or any Twitter or anything like that? You got any people like that coming at you?
nah, man. But then again, I don't make the kind of content or whatever that brings that element either. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, like, you can make content or whatever that is for entertainment purposes. You can make content that is for, business purposes. You can make content that's for travel purposes. And then you can also make content where you are actually telling the truth. And when you start to make content that tells the truth, you know what I'm saying? That is eye opening, that is debatable, that is circumstantial, that is made for people to be confrontational, then you invite that element into your circle. You know what I'm saying? Now, the whole, media beef or whatever, like, I don't I don't get into beefs because I'm not gonna. I got the money and the reach, man. Really, if I want to get at somebody, I'm gonna get the fuck at you. I'm not. I ain't even gonna hold you up. You know what I'm saying? And I know me, so I stay as far away from that shit as I possibly can. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't intentionally do things or whatever that's going to invite, you know what I'm saying, that shit, because I know me. You know what I'm saying? And you know, again, you can get on there, man, you know, and state your opinion and voice that opinion and let it be said, and all of this other stuff, man. But if when you start to tell the truth or whatever on a certain group of people, be it male, be it female, be it gay, you know, lesbian, whatever the case may be, voicing your opinions, even though your opinions may be far to the right, far to the left, no wings at all, you know what I'm saying? It's going to invite conflict. It's causality, you know what I'm saying? So the very media or whatever that you produce will always invite that conflict. And it's a good thing, though. You know what I'm saying? Because conflict equals growth. That's a very, very good thing. There's no such thing as bad publicity. So if you got motherfuckers coming through flagging your stuff or whatever for being honest, voicing your opinion, and telling the truth, shit, you doing something right. All bullshit aside, you doing something right. You know what I'm saying? Not to be putting my business out there, but you know, when I was out here or whatever, man, I had some dudes or whatever tried to lay me down. I was doing something right. You know what I'm saying? Even though I was wrong as hell, but I was doing something right. You know? So yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, bro. I say everybody keep doing what they doing. Shit.
Yeah, well, I remember a while back, and I had made, this was back, when I had a couple girls on the team, this is back in the day. And somebody had clapped on us hard, man, on some old bullshit.
Really?
And I don't really do the clapback shit. Perfectly capable of doing it, but I don't really do that. That's not really my shtick. And I had to clap back on this person because she had like attacked the whole team. This I ain't even gonna say her name. I'm not even gonna give her, that. I'm not even gonna give her that. But yeah, so I got the girls together, and we clap back on her, man. We clap back on her hard. And a few people had wrote me and was like, "Oh, X, man, you shouldn't do that. That's not you, blah, blah, blah." And it never, I never gave credence. But I watched your video after I did it. And I watched you and was like, "Yeah, I saw my man X, and he was, he went in on somebody, I was surprised." And that shit bothered me because I actually cared what you think. And I had watched, because I'm subscribed to your shit. So you got on there and he was like, "Yeah, man, I saw my man, brother X, man, he went in on somebody, and I'm not used to seeing him do that. Somebody came at him and he came back." And that shit bothered me because I know you don't think of me that way. So when I saw you say what you said about me clapping back on the person, that's what kind of made me think that, maybe I shouldn't have did that, that kind of shit. Watching your video is the only thing that made me feel that way. Everything that everybody else was talking about, I didn't care about, because they were just like kind of writing me and spamming me anyway. But I watched your video and you was talking about that shit. I was like, damn. I was like, I don't want my man to think, I'm one of these freaking people who like to do this beefing shit.
No, man, nah. I know what you're talking about too, man. I never thought that. It was just that it was shocking or whatever. More so that it was like I know him. Like this was when we were, talking or whatever. We had dialogue and everything when I was first getting to know you. And I had talked to you a few times or whatever on O'Shea's panel. I think we were emailed or whatever a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, damn, man, if you had like for somebody to have come at you like that, you're not unapproachable. You know what I'm saying? Like, why the hell did they just get at him offline? Like, dog, why did you do? That's some shit that could have been squashed behind the scenes. But see, it was also me being green and not really understanding with the quote unquote the YouTube streets, because when you start getting out there or whatever and stuff in the back and forth or whatever, everybody benefits.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas me, I just want to make videos. I like making videos. You know what I'm saying? I like making films. I like, I can narrate, edit, this, that, and the third. Actually, write some shit out and perform. I can do that. Whereas when you're making media or whatever that affects, the general public, when you make media or whatever that affects people's social quos, their lack of understanding thereof, so that they gain an understanding. When you start making media that goes against the grain or does not offer a popular opinion but tells the truth, that is what you endure. You know what I'm saying? I get that now, but back then I'm like, damn, why ain't they just talk to X? You know what I'm saying? But I ain't never seen my man do that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I was like, damn, X. You know, I'm like, oh shit, my man, damn man, going in on him. Okay, but
Well,
yeah,
you'll be glad to know that, you are part of the reason that, I don't even entertain that shit. And that was like the last like clapback video that I did, and that was a while ago. And I didn't just do it by myself, because I had a couple of girls with me at the time, I had a
right.
couple team members, and, they had saw what I saw too. So, we all got together, and we decided to go ahead and, because they wanted to address it. I decided to address it. So, I let in with the girls, and then I said my piece, and then I closed out with one of the girls too. So, it was kind of like it was a group decision, but of course I run the group. So it ultimately, the buck stops with me because I run T.P.O.T. So, ultimately the buck stops with me. If I'd have said we ain't doing it, we wouldn't have did it. So, I decided, we ain't going that route no more. We're not going to entertain people bullshit. Because like you said, if somebody got a problem with me, they can approach me. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to get at me. I put my damn email addresses in people chat rooms and all that shit. I mean, we can always squash shit, behind the scenes. Like, most of the brothers that I deal with, I have their phone numbers. Like you, I have your phone number. If I can always just call you and be like, yo, brother Theron, what's good? So that kind of shit, I don't even entertain that shit no more. Because like I said, most of the people I deal with, all they gotta do is pick up the phone and they can get at old X. They got my personal cell phone number, not even my business line. You can actually call me right now, and this damn bullshit raggedy Android will ring. So yeah. So I mean, I don't even entertain that shit no more. But watching you made me think about that shit. I was like, damn, man. I said, damn. Yeah, man. I watched the video. I was like, God damn, he's right, man. I don't need to be doing this shit. But before I let you go, what is your plan for your media going forward? What is your are you interested in growing your media, or are you just kind of still doing your photography editing thing, your video thing? What you see for yourself going forward in the next, say, couple of years, as far as media and video and shit goes?
I honestly don't know. I do know for a fact that um speaking to a few of speaking to O'Shea a few times, and also speaking to Angry Man, that I need to quote unquote niche down and find a specific target or targets or whatever, and kind of do a drop down menu of topics or whatever, as far as media and everything and creation of media is concerned. Maybe it's trucking, maybe it's, I don't know, something different. Maybe it's the overall, trucking business itself, how to get started, where to go, or whatever the case may be. Maybe it's photography. I don't know. I know me, and I know I get bored quick. I know that. But trucking keeps my attention. It's not just the driving or whatever, but when I tell you I genuinely enjoy it, I genuinely enjoy it. Seriously, I just don't like talking about it and making videos about it, because I think it's boring. I think it would be boring to the audience or whatever that I would make the videos for. But then again, if you go to my channel and look, the numbers say something completely different. When I have decided to make, videos or whatever that have been based solely on trucking or whatever, they do numbers. I got one on there right now is that damn near 10,000 views, and then another one or whatever that I did on the previous channel that's damn near 30,000 views. But I just don't like making content like that. Maybe it's writing. I'm not sure. I don't know. I know I'm versatile and I can pretty much do what I want. because I don't depend on anyone else or whatever to do anything or whatever. I know how to, chop things up or whatever and make them make sense and then put it out there to the world for them to see. So I don't know, man. I'll have to see what happens.
All right. Well, before you peel out, man, won't you because your YouTube channel that's down there, so won't you let everybody know about your Twitter, your Instagram, whatever you got, man, just in case they want to hit you up.
Oh, okay. I'm on Instagram at T Williams TV and on Twitter at Williams1 Theron. Theron. That's Instagram at T Williams TV, as in like television, like TV, and on Twitter at Williams the number 1 Theron, Theron, and that's my main two. More so Instagram than anything else, man. I started writing or whatever about the black Marvel characters and stuff, man. Not writing, but doing speech to text. I also put out an ebook too, called The Vlogging Guide. That's on my website at theronwilliams.me. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's on.
So y'all heard that, right? Go ahead, hit my man up, hit his media up, and I say again, his channel's right here in the description box. Go subscribe to it or stop watching my shit. Yeah, man, it was good, man, to chop it up with you because it's been a while, brother, since we talked.
Yeah.
So, I appreciate you, brother, man, and I know you're busy out there on the road, man. I appreciate the time, man, that you took to come through, man, and talk to the folks, man. And
sure.
you got to hit me up next time you're in the Queen City, man. We got to get up and,
bro,
do something.
I'm almost there because I love shooting in Charlotte, man. Actually, one of my photos that I took in downtown Charlotte the last time I was there had like damn near 600 hits on Instagram. They really liked that damn picture. I was right in downtown Charlotte, man. Yeah. I got to come down there with the camera. It's a camera battle, though, holding pistols. I got to come down there and shoot, bro.
Oh yeah, you have my phone number. Hit me up, man. Let me know when you coming. I'll be ready for you, man. We'll do something.
All right, man.
We'll do something. All right, my brother. Peace. Yeah, just got off the line with my man Theron Williams. Go ahead, hit his channel up, y'all. That's a cool brother right there, man. One of the coolest brothers on YouTube. Absolutely, positively, one of the coolest brothers on freaking YouTube. No doubt about that. Like I said, I have actually met the brother. That's why I can say that. But coming up next on the Black Avenger is in the house. What's good, brother Avenger?
Hey Xavier, how you doing? Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely, man. Well, with you, let's just get right into it, man. I was talking about yourself earlier with brother Theron, and I was telling everybody, they need to go ahead, upload to the Black Avenger, man. So won't you just go ahead and kind of tell the folks about Black Avenger a little bit before I get into my round of questioning.
The person or the platform?
The platform.
Okay. Basically, I started the platform almost 6 months ago, and I started it because by happenstance, I heard one YouTuber on Obsidian's podcast by the name of Brian Solange, and he said, you know what, we need our own video sharing platform to combat the flagging campaign that was going on from 2016 to about 2017. So, I said to myself, I always wanted to develop a media platform, but I just felt as though it had to be very huge and robust. But turns out you don't need a whole lot of money. You do need some capital to start a video sharing platform. So from there, the Black Avenger.TV platform was born, and people have been adopting it. It's been slow, to say the least, but it's a long road. It's not something that's going to become popular overnight. So I'm patient. just continue to build the platform out, and then go from there. I think I can do it some justice by start creating content. So I will start creating podcasts and uploading them both to our Black Avenger TV and YouTube, just to market the site on my own, because ultimately I think marketing of the platform rests with me. It doesn't rest with anybody else. You know, if other people want to promote it, that's fine. But I think the marketing piece, I think it's incumbent upon me to do that. And I think the only way I can do that is start creating content and start podcasting. Also, I do have another project in the works. It's Black Avenger Radio. So that's going to be an internet radio station, not necessarily a radio host on another platform, but it's going to be actual internet radio station where content creators can broadcast in a radio format, you know, take calls, things of that nature. So that should be on the way about spring of 2019, summer 2019 at the latest.
Okay. Black male media, y'all. Are y'all listening? You know, that stuff that we always talking about, you know. Y'all need to get on over there and support the Black Avenger. Okay. The link to the site is in the description box, of course. So you need to hit it and get on over there, check it out. Like I tell you brothers all the time, you need to be uploading your stuff to there. If you got any damn sense, that's what you need to be doing. So let me ask you this, brother Avenger. I've been on a few platforms with you, and a brother would assume that you have strong opinions about, you know, the stuff we talk about on media. So let me ask you this. What's your opinion on media in a whole, you know, YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all that kind of stuff? What's your take on media?
To be honest with you, I don't have much of a take, because I don't understand media very well. I'm still in the infancy stages of understanding how all of this works. Now, I do have opinions about the content and the topics that are discussed. That's why sometimes I'll go on Obsidian's platform and I'll offer an opinion. But my purpose is to make sure that there's critical thought. Well, my goal, or what I try to do when I contribute to a conversation, is to ensure that there's some critical thought going on. I don't know if you remember the last platform I was on. So, you know, I posed some questions that to challenge popularly held beliefs. You know, we should have cuts and all sorts of assumptions like that. And I didn't do it to troll or be disruptive, but I did it to challenge your thought, to encourage you to think systematically about things. You can't always jump to a conclusion and say, well, because this happened, it's automatically that. Or you can't really take a position, well, I want across the board cuts. I enjoy the government shutdown. That's going to get a particular demographic back to the table to bargain. And I offered a counterpoint stating that, well, I don't think you're looking at this deep enough, because cuts are going to invariably hurt the thinking black man or the working class black man. And that's not the person that I want to see hurt. So that's just a slither into how I think and my position on one or several things.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that us black folks, particularly, you know, brothers, do you think that we go in a little too hard on certain things and not hard enough on others?
That's a good question. In the black manosphere, do I think there's a heavy concentration on discussing black female fuckery, as some people coin it? Gosh, that's a tough question, because let me put it like this. I don't see enough diversity of topics in the black manosphere. You know, obviously this rift, or this perceived rift between black men and black women, yes, it's a problem. It's an ostensible problem. It's clear, it's present, needs to be talked about. But in my opinion, I would like to see other topics discussed, like technology, how to get your economic game up, how to get your health game up, discuss current events in the news from a Black male perspective. How does it affect Black males? In particular, you know, the government shutdown. How is this affecting Black people as a whole? How is it affecting Black men as a whole? The past gubernatorial elections. I mean, that's something that we can discuss. How does it affect Black men? Politics. Why do so many Black men vote for Trump? Why do so many people, well, not so many Black men, but why did 13% of the population or the Black male population vote for Trump? I think that's a topic that could be deeply explored, but it seems like no one wants to touch those things. I don't know if those are too highbrow. Maybe they're just too boring. They don't bring in the numbers, the subscribers. I don't know. So that's my opinion on it. Not enough diversity in the Black manosphere. It seems like the Black manosphere, I could be wrong. Maybe someone else has a different perspective, but it's either criticizing ratchet Black women, which they should be criticized. I'm not saying they don't deserve to be criticized. They do, by all means, because we all have a story, so they deserve to be criticized. My point is that all we can talk about? What criticizing ratchet females or how to pick up women, you know, things like that. I think there should be more diversity, in topics, or maybe that's all we do care about. I don't know. Maybe I'm making an erroneous assumption.
Well, I think you got it right. And like you said, often when you try to talk about these things don't draw on the numbers. And, you know, I'm a person where I talk about a bunch of different things. I have a series of things. You know, I'll go in on them too now.
I'm not criticizing that at all.
Yeah, I'll go in on the broads, but I'll also do other stuff. And my other stuff doesn't get as many hits. You know, I have a series on my channel where, you know, I teach you how to unclog a sink. I teach you how to do a simple tune-up on your lawnmower. I teach you how to plant a garden, grow your own food. Man, that shit gets no views.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that explains why when I looked over your videos and, you know, I see 200 views here, 50 views here, and
yeah,
this guy's interviewing some pretty heavy people. I mean, I think you interviewed a doctor. I thought I saw someone who was an expert. I just gave it a cursory view, and I was like, wow, they don't get much numbers. So the eyeballs pretty much tells you where people's interests lie. But I'm gonna give it a shot, man. I'm gonna try to talk about other things. Yeah, I will address the demographic of ratchet females. Yeah, but that will play as a slither into the range of topics I want to talk about, because that type of behavior doesn't occupy the majority of my mind space, if you know what you mean. I think your content is reflective of what occupies your mind. So if you got a lot of broad things you're talking about, that tells me that your mind is thinking across a spectrum of things. But if your content pretty much is concentrated on one thing, which isn't a bad thing, and if someone has nothing but trading videos on how to trade the stock market, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That just tells me that that person, his or her focus is on trading on the market. So I've always been a diverse type of dude. I've always been interested in a range of topics. So that's what my podcast will reflect, you know, just a range of topics.
Well, that being said, do you think that a lot of us brothers on media, are we like carbon copies of each other? Does it come off like that it's just a bunch of carbon copies of each other?
That's a good question. I definitely see silos in Black YouTube. You know, you got certain cliques who get together and they talk about certain things, and very seldom do I see or hear a dissenting voice. Let me give you two examples. You got one cottage industry on YouTube that says, well, black men ain't shit, you know, and they say, well, black men aren't in the homes, black men have no power, but no one bothers to challenge those thoughts and say, well, yeah, 70% of black men aren't in the home. Yeah, we get that statistic, but are they willingly absent? Are they unwillingly absent? Were they ran off, or did they willingly leave? I mean, I find it hard to believe that 70% or 100% of the 70% that are absent are willingly absent. I mean, there's a story behind each father who's not in the home, but no one asks those deeper questions. And that's what you get when you operate in a silo. You get groupthink. You know, everybody just listens to the message, but no one actually checks the message. You know, I think that's important. I think when you operate in a silo, whether it's the black female space or the black male space, occasionally, not all the time, but occasionally, you should have a questioning voice. I'm not talking a dissenting voice, but a questioning voice. Like, what do you mean by that? How are you citing your data? I mean, you say black men were weak during slavery, but broken in slavery. I mean, I would expect the counterpoint to be, well, that's not the case. You have black men who fled, and you had black men who enrolled enlisted in the Civil War to fight against the Confederacy. You had black men teaming up with John Brown at Harper's Ferry, where they tried to perform a slave revolt. So to just blanket all black men saying, "Oh, we were weak during slavery," or "we were broken," I think is a bit disingenuous. But I would expect someone within that silo, because only someone in that silo can even begin to change the tide, to say, "Hey, wait a minute. What's your reasoning behind that?" And the same thing in some black male silos. I mean, same thing, man. You got to have a questioning voice, man. You got to say, well, how are you sourcing your data? How did you come to that? Because I don't know. Sometimes I think you need that. Everybody on the same page, rah, 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 rah. You got groupthink, and groupthink is never a good thing.
Yeah, well, media, especially here on YouTube, it is somewhat cultic, you know, and I'm guilty of that myself. You know, a lot of the people who listen to me, you know, they agree with me, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, they agree with me. And a lot of the brothers that I listen to and join their panels, I agree with them. So it is somewhat cultic. What I find often happens is when you find yourself, you know, amongst the brothers or whoever you're amongst, and if you have a dissenting voice, you have a tendency to find yourself attacked by 1, 2, 3 people on the panel because you're rubbing against the grain of the quote unquote cult oftentimes. And I think that many of us don't necessarily believe in a lot of the shit that we say. We just kind of going along with the flow. Do you think that besides the group think that's obvious on YouTube, do you think that many of us on these platforms, do you think we believe a lot of the shit that we kind of propagate out of our mouths? Do you think most of us believe actually what we're saying?
Before I answer that, let me backpedal to a point you made earlier. Yeah, if your point was so strong, then you wouldn't be triggered and be attacked on the panel. You will welcome a challenge. You will welcome criticism, because that will give you an opportunity to defend your point and to defend your point of view. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that point. But do I believe that people believe what they're spewing? I don't know. That's pretty tough. You have to say that there's an opportunistic point of view to it. Some people spew a message just to get views and to get revenue. I honestly believe that. But to determine who does that, that's pretty hard to tell. But I know they're out there.
Well, what often happens is And now throw myself in there too. Because one thing I don't like to do, I don't like to say those people, these people, those over there. I say us.
Yeah.
I say we, because, you know, I'm part of this stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
So we often, what happens is, and I've spoke about this before, we often kind of change with the weather patterns, because anyone who's been on YouTube for more than, say, 2 to 3 years, if you go back and look at their material from 2 and 3 years ago, what they do now is probably somewhat different. Okay. And if you go through enough of our stuff, you can probably find some stuff that contradicts things that we said 2 years ago. Now, you can attribute that to evolution, possibly. You can attribute it to a change of thinking, or you can attribute it to us being full of crap. That's up to you what you think that is. But one thing I've often noticed is that the more consistent you are with your message, the more longevity you have a tendency to have. Now, that's a double-edged sword, because if you're one of those people who stay on one thing and one topic, you only have one type of audience. If you're somewhat diverse, you have different types of audience, but you don't have the following. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. So what do you think about that? Because obviously you're a media person, you know, you have Black Avenger TV and all that stuff. What do you think the best way for us to keep an audience attention? You said we need more diversity. I agree, but diversity doesn't necessarily grow your platform for the most part. So what do you think? Well, let me rephrase the question. Why do you think that oftentimes the channels that grow the most are pretty, you know, one-sided, as opposed to the diverse channels who don't often grow as quickly? Why do you think that is?
That's a good question. I can't answer that from a content creator's point of view, because obviously I'm not a content creator yet. However, I think I can take a stab at it from a content consumer point of view. I think it's all about consistency and expectations. If that, obviously the numbers bear out that viewers want you to be consistent with a particular message, whatever that message may be. I think I'm in the minority where I can appreciate a diversity of topics. And, you know, if some of them appeal to me, I'll consume it. Then if some doesn't, I won't. But that doesn't mean I'm going to stop listening to you. And then also, I believe viewer feedback is important. I think a lot of channels don't grow because they don't interact with their viewers as much as they should. No, I mean, Kevin Hart, for example, they say he's one of the hardest working people on social media because he's always answering posts. He always responding to people. He's always interacting with people. And he's kind of corny. His comedic game isn't that good from what comedians say. I can pretty much take that line of thinking with a content creator that might be diverse and they may not zero in on one topic. I think as long as you interact with your audience, because everybody who comments on your platform, you know, they want a little bit of attention. They want a little bit of acknowledgement. So I feel as though if you engage your audience, accept feedback from your audience, because I think that's critical too. You know, if they give you some stuff or articles they want you to talk about, I think you should do your due diligence, do your research, and perhaps do a video on it. I mean, that's one way to interact with your audience. So I think whatever you lack as far as content or content that they may not like, I think if you accept feedback, constructive feedback, and internalize that into how you operate, I think that also can help your channel. You know, take into account what they want, because, you know, content consumers, I mean, they like customers. The customer is always right. I mean, you can put a product out there that doesn't necessarily mean they're gonna consume it just because it's out there. You need to be very keen about your feedback, about what your audience wants, and then sometimes you incorporate what you want. It's like a give and take game. You know, you compromise a little, then perhaps they'll compromise a little and stick with you, and recognize that there is some value in talking about other stuff. You always got to couch the content and how you think it offers value to your customer or your viewer.
So do you think that many of us don't have the ability to do that because of, you know, the audiences we have? I'm a true believer that many of our material is kind of influenced by our audiences, and many of us we do things that we want to do until our audience doesn't seem interested in it. So then we kind of change, because I've kind of done that in the past. I mean, I've got away from it now. I do the stuff that I like to do, and I do the stuff that, you know, suits the audience that I, you know, get in front of, you know, however big or small it is at any particular time. But, you know, often what happens is, you know, you find yourself playing to your audience as opposed to interacting with them. You're playing to them. You know, I'm not going to do this anymore because it didn't get many views. So I'm going to do this because this got, you know, X amount of views. And I think oftentimes what happens is we get caught up in that whole thing, and we kind of lose our edge at times because we're not really doing the material that we're good at. We're doing the material that, you know, the audience may think good of. So I think we kind of get lost in that, and I do myself sometime. But let me go ahead and ask you this.
Wait, before you move on, I want to chime in that's an excellent point. I learned something, because, like you said, we tend to gravitate towards what the audience want, where we probably aren't that good at creating content, but you want to do stuff that you're really good at. So, you know, I may not be successful as a podcast. I may not be successful as a radio host, man. I mean, I think I might be a failure. So we'll see, because I'm not built like that, man. I'm just not. I guess I'm too stuck in my ways. So, and I think that's the honesty part of who I am, man. I've never been one to try to fake it until you make it, or try to just fake it, because I think your audience can tell that you're fake, and I think you're gonna lose subscribers anyway. In my opinion, I could be wrong, but that's my opinion on that.
Well, let me ask you a few questions about some of the stuff we do talk about on these airways.
Okay.
Baby mamas, what's your view on those?
I think, based on my experience, I think that if you are a young man coming up, I think you ought to avoid baby mamas. That's my opinion. In fact, I plan to do a podcast on a couple articles or a couple stories that occurred in my neck of the woods, where fooling around with a baby mama got one man put in jail, and then got a simp who went into super simp mode arrested for murder. So not all baby mamas present that type of drama, but there's baggage that I think young single Black men will do well by avoiding baby mamas. And perhaps I'm a bit jaded because I got involved with a single mother and obviously didn't go well. So that's my opinion on that.
Are you a red pill guy?
That's a good question because red pill has so many connotations, man. When I think red pill, I'm thinking the movie The Matrix. You can take the blue pill and view the glass as half full, the eternal optimist, or you can take the red pill and be a realist and accept the situation as it is. And if it means viewing the glass as half empty, well, the glass is half empty. Not much you can do about it. I tend to be a realist about things. I think men in general tend to gravitate towards the red pill in a sense that red pill in that you accept reality for what it is. You're not the eternal optimist because you've lived long enough. I think the longer you live, the less your optimism come down because you get a pretty good idea of human nature. So that's my opinion on that. But other people view red pill as MGTOW. I am not MGTOW. That is not my cup of tea. However, I don't criticize those who decide to go MGTOW. Everybody's entitled to adopt a philosophy as they see fit, where they can live life the way they want to live it. I'm a big proponent of self-determination. I'm a big proponent of people living life the way they want to live. So if you want to be a black pill person, fine, be a black pill. You want to be blue pill, that's fine. In my opinion, there is no right or wrong ideology. The right or wrong ideology is the right one is the one that fits your lifestyle and your goals. And the wrong one is the one that's incongruent with where you want to go in life. That's the way I look at it. I look at, hey, live and let live. If that works for you, fine. I don't care.
So, as a brother, what's your take on the, quote unquote, gender war that kind of exists on YouTube and media? What's your take on that?
That's a good question because I think it's all perspective. I don't think that the gender war resides solely on YouTube. How can it? I mean, how can you compartmentalize ideas and beliefs that you have online and then disavow those beliefs when you go offline? So I think let me give you an example. I think the gender war is very real, but I don't think it's systemic. For example, you think someone who is an HR manager, a black female HR manager, do you think that do you think she can be a subscriber to the cottage industry that black men ain't shit and then be objective offline when she's considering hiring a black male candidate? I'm a firm believer your views are your views. Your views, you don't just check your views at the YouTube door when you go offline. In fact, I think your views on YouTube and your content and things that you say online is a manifestation of who you are. So if you say spurious stuff about people online, that reflects that you're a lowlife. So if you're a lowlife on YouTube, then chances are you're a lowlife off YouTube. I mean, it's very simple. I mean, I don't think there's any line of demarcation to say, hey, this is my persona online and this is my persona offline. No, I think they're inextricably intertwined. That's my opinion.
So do you believe that media, YouTube and all the other stuff, do you think it amplifies our personalities? Does it amplify it?
No, I think it reveals it. I think social media has pulled the cover off the dysfunction in the black community, in my opinion. I mean, because it's so easy. It's so easy to upload your dysfunction. It's so easy for you to film your dysfunction on the cell phone, and then the cell phone is connected to the internet, so you can just simply upload it to World Star Hip Hop, YouTube. You know, like as I said before, I'm a firm proponent of the idea that social media is a double-edged sword. And on the one instance, it is tremendous as far as information access. If you need to learn about any topic, get any insight into a topic, you can go on social media and learn how to do it. I mean, hell, I've gone on social media, learned how to get the gunk out of a lawnmower, and learn how to get it started without having to call somebody. I've used YouTube to tear up my driveway and then change it from an asphalt driveway to a paver driveway, which increases the home value of my house. I built a fire pit looking on YouTube. So on that end, YouTube, that's the good edge of the sword. Whereas you can enrich your understanding, you got access to information, and you're just a smarter individual than you were without social media, because the information is so readily available. But on the other hand, the negative edge of the sword is it just reveals all the social ills and dysfunction that's in the Black community. I mean, people twerking, people talking about masturbation at work. I mean, just the filth that you see, just the lunacy that you see on YouTube that shows the dysfunction in the Black community. Now, some people might say, well, they might criticize me for that, but you know, that's a fact. That's the red pill in me talking. That's the reality. That's the reality that I accept. I don't try to look at it as the glass is half full. No, man, it reveals dysfunction to the world. It gives us a negative light to the world, man. No other group of people display their dysfunction on YouTube as us, man. I mean, for example, what group of women are going around castigating their men, saying they ain't shit, they were weak, etc.? What Jewish women do you see on YouTube blaming Jewish men for not protecting them during the Holocaust? What what Japanese women do you find making content online blaming Japanese men for the internment camps that they were committed to during World War II? You don't. What Rwandan women do you see online making content what Tutsi women do you find online blaming Tutsi men for, quote, not protecting them when the Hutus were hacking them up in 1994? I mean, warfare happens, man. Circumstances happen. I mean, things are out of your hands. But this North American Black female feels as though she can get online and just disparage the Black male without having her facts, no sense of history, no sense of perspective. And they just babble off and no command of facts, and then put out an opinion. And going back to that group thing, no one bothers to question. So to answer your question, social media, it's a double-edged sword. It's one of the greatest inventions of the 20th century, probably 21st century, because it gave people access to information that they would have otherwise not had. But on the flip side, it shows the dysfunction of the Black community, and that's the red pill reality person is talking. The realist person is talking.
Okay, well, let's stay on that point for a minute or two. Do you think us as Black men, do we give these women who get on and, you know, talk about how Black men ain't doing this and Black men don't have that, and blaming Black men for all this other kind of nonsense, have we given these women too much credit? So much credit that, you know, we feel like we have to counter their narrative. Have we listened to these women on media too much, do you think?
Yes. When I cite women talking about black men, I hear it from a second hand perspective. I don't listen to their channels. I don't go to their channels. I don't consume that pollution. I just don't. Um, some people are glutton for punishment. Same thing with news media. If there's certain media out there that I do not like, I'm not going to go to that website. I'm not going to read the content. As a black person, why are you going on Stormfront, dude? I mean, really? I mean, yeah, it's out there. Nigger mania is out there. Chimp mania is out there. But am I going to give them views? Am I going to view their content? Hell no. I already know what you're about, dude. So why am I going to pollute my mind space with that toxic poison?
Well, do you think that many of us as black folks, do we got this thing where we love to hate? And what I mean is, it's sort of like going on someone's Facebook page or going on someone's Instagram or someone's YouTube page, and you go on there just to put negative comments. You go in there just to tell this person how much you hate them, when all you got to do is just like not watch them at all. I mean, it's pretty simple to not watch someone. Do you think that oftentimes us as black folks, we just love to hate? We love to have something to love to hate.
I don't think yes, but I don't think it's something that's endemic to just us. I think other groups suffer the same thing too. I mean, just look at it. How many people who are not black troll black platforms? I mean, they do the same thing. I think I almost want to say it's human nature, but I don't want to get ahead of myself because I don't know much about human nature in that regard. So I'll stay away from that point. But speaking about us, yeah, I think there's a contingent amongst us that love that type of thing. They love the drama. They love to keep things going. As Theron said last hour, I don't get into YouTube beefs. I feel as though the quickest way to diffuse a YouTube beef is not to participate in it. If somebody says something, just let it roll off your back, because as Theron said, I know what type of person I am. And once I get there, I'm there. And I don't want to go there, man. I just don't. I'm too old for that. So I don't engage in beefs online, and I don't engage in beefs offline. What you see online is pretty much what you're gonna see offline. I'm a very, very private person. I try to avoid confrontation, because I know if I go there, it's not gonna be pretty, and I don't need that type of drama in my life. So that's my position on that.
Well, you spoke of white people trolling our channels. And of course, when we, most of us brothers, I know I have some white viewers, not many, but I know I have some. The ones that I'm aware of, because you never know, who else is watching your channel. So when we're making our material, should we be cognizant of the fact that, white folks may be watching, or should we just do what we do? Should we be cognizant of that white folks may be watching us, so we gotta watch how we do things? What's your take on that?
I'll say absolutely not. You make content to address your audience, and whoever's looking in, let them look in. But you don't care about what people who don't support you. You don't care what they think. You hopefully you're making content to satisfy a demand from your audience. So people who aren't your supporters, they ought not factor into how you operate online to a certain extent. Like myself, I still work on a corporate plantation, so I have to I gotta watch what I say. I gotta, well, not necessarily, because the way I speak online is the way I speak offline. So if someone came across my content, uh, I wouldn't pretty much fear any repercussions, because that's how I speak offline. So, but yeah, I think sometimes you definitely need to be mindful of the content you put out. I mean, you can see it yourself. I mean, look at how people, the kind of content they put out. The people who come to mind. Do you think they can ever go back into the workforce if they need be, if their donations go down, or if their small business go down? Let's say they don't have a business on YouTube, but they create YouTube content. Economic conditions change. They can affect your cash flow. That might force you to go back into workforce. So you always got to be mindful of that, man. You always got to be looking ahead. You always got to have that forethought. And that's what I try to do. I try to look at the angles, man. I mean, the content you put out, once it's uploaded to the internet, it's there. And I know that from being a technologist, man. That data will live on the internet forever. So you got to be mindful of what you put out there. That's I'll leave it at that.
That's true. That's true. Now, I mean, I own a small business. I have two shops. Okay. And I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm a power mechanic. I've been doing it for 30 years.
Okay.
And I think about that too. What if something happened to my business, or what if I have to get a job again? That kind of stuff. I think about that kind of stuff. But I mean, but believe it or not, this is kind of how I am in real life. I mean, because I have some of my customers that come to my shops actually watch me on this shit, and I'll like see them tomorrow, and they'll be like, "Yo, man, you was bugging out last night," that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I'm pretty much this way. I mean, my wife will tell you that, my children will tell you that. I mean, the people I know will tell you, X is pretty much X, no matter what. But what do you think kind of what can alter? I mean, what can alter media? What do you think? What would have to happen to kind of change, Black YouTube? What would have to happen to make us get off of the gender war, the going in on Black men, the going in on Black women, the baby mamas and all that kind of stuff? What would have to take place in Black media to make us kind of get away from that? What do you think it would take to make that happen?
Wow. I don't think anything has to happen in media. I think something has to happen in the population. And that would be a catastrophe. Don't know what the catastrophe is, because normally when catastrophes come around, you normally put your differences aside, because the thing that's front and center is the catastrophe. Case in point, let's say, for example, you go to war. I mean, you go to war with people who are Muslim, who are Catholics, who are Black, who are white, who are Asian. Yeah, you might have differences. You might have differing political ideologies, but once you deploy to war, you put all that stuff aside. I mean, you address the threat that's at hand. So, in order for this gender war to end, or this bad behavior to end, there will have to be like a catastrophe, but that's not going to happen. So, that's a quixotic. Well, I don't want to say that is a quixotic notion. So I don't think anything would change it in the short term. I guess in the long term, as long as it took for this thing to develop, it's going to take longer to reverse. I mean, that's with anything. You know, you build structures. You built the World Trade Center, for example. It took minutes to topple it, but took over 10 years to rebuild it. So however long it took to get to where we are, it's going to take much longer to reverse things. But I don't see a reversal in my lifetime. I just don't see it. So I guess what's the word I'm looking for? Guess the war continues, I guess. But I don't think everyone buys into the gender war. I don't, per se. You know, whenever I encounter Black females in public, I treat them with respect like everyone else. Are you there? I think we had a momentary disruption.
I'm here. It's been doing that lately, man, because we've been getting like where I'm at, all the lines are underground. They don't believe in telephone poles here. So everything is underground. Cable, electricity, everything's freaking underground. So for like the past 3.5 weeks, man, we've been getting like rain. I think we'd had like 3 days in 3.5 weeks that it hasn't rained. So this is what happens when you live in a damn cul-de-sac where they don't like telephone poles. But yeah. Well, what do you think? Because we often hear brothers say, and I know you're on panels that I'm on sometimes,
right?
And you often hear our brothers say that Black society is dead, Black society is finished. There's no hope for Black society. It has to burn and regrow, and you know, a whole litany of things. What's your take on that? Do you subscribe to that you know, Black society as we know it is dead? It something else has to happen. Do you subscribe to that ideology?
I do not, because number one, you're only as good as the people that you surround yourself with. Like I know there's Black ratchet females out there. I know there ain't shit Black men out there, but I don't have them in my circle, man. I think what we need to do is surround ourselves with positive people who, excuse me, people who are about positive things. I mean, I know several Black females, and I adore them. So I'm not going to just put them all in one bucket and say, well, all black women are the same, or most Black women are the same. Yeah, there is Black female fuckery out there, but hell, man, like I said, I'm raising a little girl, so she's part of a little junior sorority, and you know, the Black women there, I mean, shit, they're fantastic. I don't have anything negative to say about them. In fact, you know, some of them have reached out. They said, yeah, we know you're raising a little girl. If you need any help, you know, let us know. We'll help you out. You know, just a communal type of environment. But, you know, I say I'm good. She has a grandmother. She has an aunt. You know, they're female family members who do help out. But, you know, that's how come, you know, I gotta compartmentalize things that I hear online or panels that I'm on, because on the one hand, I know that so-called Black female fuckery is out there. I know that there's a rift between Black men and Black women. However, I don't come at Black women like that who I've not met before. You have to manifest yourself before I put you in that category. I'll say, okay, you're that type of person. Not going to deal with you. I'm going to do my best to avoid you. But, you know, I give everybody a chance who I encounter. And that I gotta, you have to be sophisticated enough to compartmentalize your beliefs. On the one hand, yeah, there's a contingent of Black females out there that are very toxic. But on the other hand, I know that there are Black females out there that are decent. And so I got to compartmentalize the two. I can't put them all in the same pot. So And you have to be careful of that because, like you mentioned before, it's such a cult environment that you'll be looking at every Black female that you encounter as the very thing that you despise. And I think a lot of people have fallen into that because I've come up on Black females at work. You know, you try to give the greeting of the day, you know, the nod, and just hostility, man. Just like, ugh, like, why are you talking to me? Or don't look at me. Then, you know, you come across some Black females that are actually nice and cordial. So, you know, you take it with a grain of salt and you just judge on an individual basis. You know, that's how I wish people to judge me on an individual basis, look at my work, look at my content at work, and I'll give you the same courtesy. I think civility has pretty much gone by the wayside. I don't know what's driving it. I don't think anybody knows what's driving it, but we know it's here. And it's not going anywhere.
So do you believe that we as Black folks have a tendency to, you know, romanticize these things? Do we romanticize poverty? Do we romanticize the struggle? Do we romanticize the things that come along with that? Do we romanticize the crime in our neighborhoods and the single motherhood? Do you think we romanticize this stuff too much?
As a collective, I say no, because as a collective, we're not a monolith, man. We got Black business people, we got Black liberals, we got Black Republicans, we got Black people who are business minded, we got Black people who are in tech, we got Black people who want to be far removed from that street culture, that crime, that poverty, man. So I can't ascribe that to us as a whole. What I think happens is that a small minority gets to represent all of us in the media, and I think those who control the media controls the narrative and what we see. Because I refuse to believe that everyone is on board with this disgusting nature of Housewives series or the disgusting lyrics and rap. I don't believe that Black America embodies that. I think we're a diverse people. I mean, shit. Just look at you and myself. We don't subscribe to that. You're a business person, so I can't say that we as a whole do it. But there is some segments of Black America that does subscribe to that, and will always subscribe to that. That's always been that element, and that element isn't going anywhere. I think it's just needlessly amplified. I think that part of Black America, they get the microphone, they get the camera, but the vast majority of people who are doing the right things don't get the camera, don't get the mic, because let's face it, it's boring. You know, I mean, we've coined that ourselves. I mean, I think we call that the educated lame group or the boring group. So the swag and the swagger gets the microphone and the camera, you know.
Do you think as a people, do we take in too much media? Do we watch too much TV? Do we look at too much YouTube as a people, as a collective? Do we take in too much of this stuff?
Well, the statistics bear that out. I can't cite the report, but they say that Black Americans, I think, use social media at the highest level, if I'm not mistaken. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they say the people who operate iPhones and stuff at the highest level is Black Americans. So do we consume too much TV? That's kind of a tricky question, because not all consumption of social media is for entertainment purposes. As I mentioned before, that double-edged sword. I mean, there's a lot of information to be gathered via social media. I mean, people go to YouTube to learn entire courses. I mean, if you want to learn coding, I mean, people got entire courses that they've put on YouTube or they put online for people to consume. So I think what the numbers don't show is what people are consuming online. So until we know what people are consuming online, I don't think we can legitimately make that jump and say, well, Black people consume too much TV or too much social media, too much YouTube, because again, we don't know what we're consuming. I mean, myself, I consume a lot of social media, but it's a lot of research that I'm doing. It's a lot of videos I'm watching. I use YouTube for my job. I mean, if I don't understand something, I try to find a quick video real quick, because I'm a visual learner. If I can see it, I can grasp it faster than, you know, scanning text. Or I might use the two because one could complement the other. So, one really can't answer that question if we consume too much social media.
Well, I'm going to hit you with maybe one or two more questions before I let you go.
Yep.
So I know that Black Avenger TV is going to grow. So let me ask you about that. Where do you see it in, say, another 5 to 10 years? Where do you see Black Avenger TV going forward?
I can tell you where I would like to see it, but I really can't tell you where it's going to go. It's really hard to tell. You know, I would like to see it adopted for Black male media. Hopefully get some advertisers, hopefully get a news piece where people are writing articles. The radio network piece, that should already be up and running. So I don't know where it's going to go, man. I know where I would like for it to go, but I don't know, because I don't know much about media. This is a new territory for me. So I don't know. It'd be great to have a mentor of, you know, somebody that's already done the media thing. You know, somebody like a Roland Martin or someone like that. But, you know, probably too lowly for him to talk to me. So we'll see. I don't know.
Well, let me ask you this. Is there, because, you know, I always talk about Black Avenger TV. I tell brothers, you know, put your stuff on Black Avenger. You know, I say that often. Is there anything that you don't want to be on Black Avenger TV?
That's a good question. That's a good question. I think the terms of service bears that out. And I was very careful when I crafted the terms of service. I don't want to see any content that advocates violence. I don't want to see any content that advocates harming children. I don't want to see any content that puts people's personal information out there. If the information is not publicly available and you got some information about somebody's nephew, somebody's child, I do not want to see it on my site. So aside from that, like I said before, no content that advocates violence or advocates hatred of any group. Strong criticism, yeah, I welcome that, because, you know, it's controversy, and controversy gets you eyeballs. But, you know, aside from the aforementioned topics I mentioned, yeah, that's what I don't want to see on there. But everything else is fair game. If you got a strong opinion, you know, post it up. If you got strong criticism, you know, post it. That's what the site was really intended for, you know, for people to speak freely, but, you know, don't do the things I've mentioned.
Are you listening, folks? And you can catch your ex up there too. If you go up there, you can catch your Xavier up there, and you know X got some stronger pages, because I got some of my most going in joints up there.
I definitely appreciate that. Yep.
Oh, absolutely. I gotta get off my lazy ass and put some more of my stuff up there, man. You know, I have a lot to do, man. You know, I work a lot and shit like that. So, you know, I only time I really have time is at night. So, you know, it's kind of rough for me, and my season's kicking back in. You know, my season actually slows down between November through January. I'm usually pretty down, but last year was a very good year for me, and my business pretty much stayed the way it was all the way up to the end of December. It slowed down a little bit, but it's creeping right back up, man. It's like, it's crazy. I'm not complaining now. I'm not complaining,
yeah,
but I'm
absolutely.
saying, things are moving really quickly, and I'm actually looking to hire a few people, so I've got a lot going on, but I'm gonna get some more of my stuff up there, man. I'm gonna do it. I'm going to do it.
Well decided, be around indefinitely. So, take your time. No issues. People have been uploading. So I definitely appreciate you taking the time out to upload and have me on the show. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely, man. I appreciate you coming through, man. I know you're probably a busy man, and thank you for spending some time with us, man. Everybody, like I said earlier, look down in the description box. You can hit that link and go to Black Avenger TV and upload your stuff up there, and also check out other people's stuff. So that's something you need to be doing. That's Black Avenger TV. Go ahead, hit that link, and get on up there and check it out and support the brother. Support, because guess what? The brother got something going on that we always talk about. Black male media. So get on up there and support it, or I'll haunt you in your damn dreams tonight. Brother Avenger, I appreciate you coming through, brother. This was a good conversation, man. It was good to chop it up with you tonight, man, and I'll see you on the other side, brother.
All right, appreciate it. Have a good evening.
All right, brother. Peace.
All right.
Yeah, just got off the horn with the Black Avenger. Y'all need to get on down there to Black Avenger TV, man. I'm telling you, it's what it is, man. I got my stuff up there. Y'all can check me out up there too. What I need to do, I need to start putting that in the description box so y'all can get on over there and watch some of my stuff over there. You know what I'm saying? Because some of X's greatest hits is on Black Avenger TV. So get on over there, check out Black Avenger TV, and go ahead and look up old Xavier, write it all in caps, and you will find old X. The same old stuff that you see on the T.P.O.T YouTube page. So, coming up next on we're gonna have brother Aaron Collins coming through in a minute. Let me make sure I sent him the right link, because y'all know X-ass blind. You're not blind. Yeah, we got brother Aaron Collins coming through. Another brother that I've sat on panels with and chopped it up quite a bit. All the people that I bring up here, I have respect for. People I don't have, that much of respect for just don't come on here. So if you see a brother up here, he's somebody that's not just respected by me, but respected by others. And I'm determined to interview practically everybody on YouTube. That's just what I'm going to do. So I'm never going to run out of people to interview, because there's millions of us. And I'm trying to bring y'all what y'all like. I picked the brothers' brains only for an hour, and give you a little insight to who they are, what the channels are about, what they do for a living, whatever they want to talk about. It's all good up here on the T.P.O.T YouTube page. And I'm glad that y'all are here, to support it and watch it. Y'all need to go ahead and get these likes up right here, because I know some of y'all did not hit that like button when you came up in here. But I can't really chastise y'all, because see, this number is higher than this number. So I can't really get mad. But I do need y'all to hit that like button, because I know some of y'all up in here have been up in here and have not hit it. So go ahead and take that hand and move it nice and slow. Yeah, nice and slow. Right on over there like this. And boom, you're done. Right? Right. So my distinguished guest has arrived. What's up, brother Aaron?
What's going on, Brother X? How you doing, man? It's an honor for me to be here on your platform.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So let me go ahead and start with the question that I always start with. What brought you to YouTube, Brother Aaron?
Well, my bottom line, I wanted to put some content out there and share my knowledge and wisdom with people, and just have fun on this platform. See what I could see who I could talk to, and see who could see me, I guess. know, and also be a positive black influence too in media.
Well, let's that being said, do you think that we don't have enough? Do we not have enough positive influences on not just YouTube but media in a whole?
Yeah, I would say that we don't, for the simple fact. Well, I'm not gonna say we don't have enough positive influences, but I'll say this: they're not showcased. Like they always want to show all the negative of us, but they never really show the positive side of us. But then again, why are we depending on them to do it? Since we know that they own these platforms and things, why are we depending on them to show positive images of us? We need to be doing that.
Well, do you think that we've become an audience kind of so attracted to the negative? Are we an audience of people who we have such an infatuation with the negative that created we have created a we have created a niche where the negative is all we want to see because we are so fixated on the negative as an audience, and people are just giving us what we want. What's your take on that?
Unfortunately, you're absolutely correct on that, brother X. We have created this whole generation of ratchetry, and that's more entertaining, more exciting for our people to see. A lot of times, we do perpetuate that image that when it comes to something negative, when it comes to something that's gonna be more controversial, something that'll get people running and a lot of oohs and ahs. Unfortunately, that's what attracts our people. It's like a kid looking at a big shiny toy. You want to run to it. When it comes to something that's going to be practical, educational, that's going to be uplifting, our people a lot of times don't want anything to do with it.
So one could assume that many of us we just like watching the train wreck or the car crash, Yeah,
Yep.
we like seeing the pain and the misery. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, it reminds me of like when growing up in school, anytime there was a fight, people say, fight, fight. They always want to run and see the fight. Now one person tried to break up the fight that they wanted to bring it, and this was like pre-World Star hip hop or whatever that show is, World Star. I mean, just imagine back then if they had cell phones then.
Well, I often talk about this, and I just talked about this with the Black Avenger. Do you often uh see us as, I know a lot of us, many of us are attracted to the most negative of things. That goes without saying. But do you think that media is a reflection of us, or are we a reflection of media, or is it a combination of both?
I'd say it's a combination of both because for one thing, as a people, I look at us as showmen. for one thing, we are very graceful people, and we've always had a certain elegance and a certain nobility when it comes to us, in that everyone, when they see us, they really want to be like us, because we just have a certain, well, today they call it swag, and it's showcased all over. So that's not necessarily a bad thing that people want to emulate and be like us, but too many times they want to imitate the negative aspects of us, and not so much the decorum that we possess.
So who do you who can we attribute blame to on that? I mean, I know we often talk about, you know, the white power structure, white supremacy boogeyman, and, you know, all this kind of stuff. And I do think that, you know, the white power structure has a lot to do with how things are in Black society. But I don't believe that it's just the white power structure or just the white supremacy boogeyman. I think a lot of it has to do with us. What's your take on that?
I agree with you, because in order to say it's the white supremacist structure, that means we would be giving them too much credit. We really bigging them up when we say it's all them. We do have to take some responsibility for that as well. So personal responsibility is the first sign. It's one of the first signs of getting help.
Do you think we make too much of white supremacy? Do you think we make too much of that?
At times, I think we can. I mean, because there's been times when I've gone overboard, and I had to check myself, and I'm like, well, maybe I am saying this a bit too much, or I mean, why don't I just say that it's this particular person? Sometimes people do put themselves in these situations, and then it's like, well, you can't say the white man made you do this, because ask yourself this question: why were you driving a car that didn't have any tags and stuff on it? And that's just an example right there.
Well, oftentimes, you know, when we talk, and some of us as Black folks, when someone has a different perspective or different point of view, the first thing we like to say is, you know, this person's a coon, this person's, you know, shucking and jiving, this person's doing XYZ.
Yeah.
Do you think that we overuse those terms like coon and sambo and sellout? Are those terms overused?
Yeah, we do use those terms, because sometimes I realize that some people may not necessarily have even grown up in exactly the way we grew up, and maybe sometimes we have some of our people don't necessarily know the experiences that the majority of us has. We do have some among us that have grown up in, I guess, close to lily white areas and had white influences, but that doesn't necessarily make them a coon. And I realize that too now. So sometimes it's probably just a matter of experience and social upbringing. But we do, but then yeah, we do have some coons among us, but not everyone's a coon.
So what's your definition of a coon or sellout or sambo? What's your definition?
Well, let's see. I'll say a sellout is a black person who goes out of their way to cape for white society at the expense of disowning and degrading their own people. And a sambo is, well, basically a shucking, jiving, buck dancing, jigaboo type that's willing to just do anything for the appeasement of whites.
Do you think do you think that there is do you think that we're inundated? Because I know I often hear people say this, that we're just inundated with these coons and sambos. We're inundated with it on Black YouTube. Do you believe that? Do you believe that we're inundated? I know there's some, but are we inundated with them as a lot of people, say?
I wouldn't say what they were inundated with it, because I realize that just a lot of our people are just unaware and are just not are just so have such a Western mindset, have such a European way of thinking that they don't realize what we're truly up against. So I wouldn't say that we're necessarily inundated with it. Maybe just majority of our people are just unaware, still asleep, so to speak.
So do you think it's hope for the quote unquote coon or Sam? Is it hope for these people? Is it hope for the so-called, coon, the Sambo, the sellout? Is there hope for these people?
Yeah, I believe there's hope. I believe there's hope for everybody. I really don't like the term. Um, some people are just completely lost. I think there's hope for anybody. Some it might be a little bit. It might take a little bit longer, and you have to be a little bit more strategic with winning them over. But I like to think there's hope for everyone.
So you don't believe that we have some lost ones amongst us. You don't subscribe to that are just totally lost.
Well, I just say that we don't have any lost ones. I guess maybe I'm just trying to do myself a favor and not really look for them. Maybe I'm trying to save myself that heartache. If you understand what I'm saying, maybe I just don't want to believe that we have some lost among us.
So when, like, because I've been on a few panels with you, and I've often noticed that you're a very positive brother. You know, do you think that many of us we are? Do you think many of us are too? Are we too negative? Do we have too much emphasis on the negative stuff as opposed to the positive stuff? Do we emphasize our negatives too much? Some of us.
Yeah, I believe because I mean, if I had a dollar for every time I heard folks talk about what we don't have and what we need to do. I'm like, okay, now that we know what we don't have and what we need to do, what are we going to do to get these things? And I mean, for one thing, we can't even get some of us to build together first. Okay, well, in order for us to have these things, let's come together and do this. All of a sudden, you have a million excuses. I gotta I gotta go make a run or whatever. But a lot of times they're the main ones that's the most vocal. But when it comes to actually delivering solutions, they're nowhere to be found.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Um, what I think often happens is, we, and I say this a lot. We get on here and we talk this stuff. And let us be clear. I believe probably about 60, 70, maybe even 80% of us aren't doing anything even close to the shit that we talk about doing. We're just not. All right. So when we get up on here and we talk this stuff, and we push these narratives about what we don't have, what we do have, what we can't do, what we can do, right? And oftentimes I've noticed that many of us kind of talk, and I've talked about this before. Many of us we speak off of struggle mountain. And when I say struggle mountain, I mean we talk as if, we all live in the projects. We talk as if we all are eating roaches. We talk as if, all of us are standing on the side of the highway with a sign saying, "I'll work for food." And we know that that's just not true. Yeah, it's just not true for all of us. Do you think that that's a big problem with us in black media? Do too many of us kind of speak from struggle mountain too much?
Yeah, that does make sense because some of us do speak in those types of patterns that we all live in the projects, and some of them us do have those talking points that we can't get nowhere when there are some of us who are doing well, who are successful, and are actually trying to do something to build the community and give back. But very rarely do they ever are they ever recognized because so much emphasis is put on the especially in the hip hop music, those that came out of it like, yeah, we used to struggle, we used to sell drugs, and now look at us. I mean, that's good, but what about the person that didn't necessarily sell drugs to get to the top? How come you don't showcase their story? Because it's like what we just said just a few minutes before. The negative is more attractive. The 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 grime, the griminess, the ratchetry is more attractive.
Do you believe that some of us through media have kind of lost touch with reality? Have we kind of lost touch of it?
Yeah, definitely. Some of us actually think that we can do some of the things that they see on TV, and some of them get so caught up in it that they actually forget that, hey, wait a minute, this is real life. That's only a character on television or a character in hip hop. That's not real life.
Well, I know that, I mean, a lot of us, we enjoy this media because if we didn't enjoy it, we wouldn't be doing it all the time. I'm on twice a week, my damn self. So obviously it's something that I enjoy being a part of. But what I think often happens is we have a tendency to take something that's, I guess, meant for our own enjoyment, and we've kind of weaponized it to a degree, and I'm guilty of it myself too. That's why I say we have kind of weaponized it. Do you think that that drives the narrative for other people? Sort of like what I asked Black Avenger. Are many of us kind of like just copies of a copy of a copy of a copy? Do you find that to be the case in media, especially on YouTube?
And when you say that, are you talking about are some of us like making up a story or a past so they can appear to be more I don't know, hardcore or something like that in order to get the
Yeah,
attention?
yeah. Do many of us do we kind of copy narratives from other people, narratives that we didn't really live? Okay,
Yeah,
because for example, right? You often hear people talk about, how they came from the hood and they ate roaches and they live in the projects and they wore one pair of pants for a month and all that kind of stuff, right? Now,
yeah,
me, I make it obvious that I wasn't raised in the hood. I wasn't raised by a baby mama. Okay. I mean, my father didn't die till I was like 30, 37. Uh, my father didn't die till I was 37. And my parents were married for like 56 years. And I wasn't raised in the ghetto singing songs for survival or any of that. I had no real exposure to the hood until after I moved out of my parents' house. So, I make no qualms about that. I'm not ashamed of it or none of that shit. I'm not ashamed of the fact that I didn't come from the hood. I'm not ashamed of the fact that I had a father in my goddamn life. But what I think often happens is many of us try to pick up these narratives like, we lived this hood life. We grew up, eating damn molded bread and government cheese. You know, we pick that narrative up to kind of give ourselves more validity on these YouTube streets. And do you believe that that is the case with many of us? Do you believe that many of us are just kind of copy and pasting narratives to try to give ourselves more YouTube street cred, if you will?
Yeah, I think some of us do. Now, me, I can honestly say this: I was truly born and raised on the South Side of Chicago. Now, the neighborhood I grew up in wasn't necessarily a straight up just gutter run down community. I mean, it was a typical black neighborhood, you know, on in a major city. Did we struggle? We didn't necessarily struggle, but we weren't super rich. There was moments when, you know, when I had to eat the government cheese and you know, the welfare and stuff like that. There was moments when I've lived like that, and I ran around with the neighborhood kids and stuff, getting into trouble, but you know, just doing typical kid stuff. But that's how I grew up though. I mean, but I'm not going. But no, I didn't necessarily grow up gangbanging or anything like that. No, I knew gangbangers. I knew people who grew up in gangbang. I went to school with some of them. But me necessarily, I didn't take part in it. And it's amazing how I didn't take part in some things. I personally believe God had His hand on me.
So you don't have to make up stories about, you know, flipping crack rocks and shooting folks and, you know, all that kind of stuff. You don't have to make that stuff up. You can just tell your real story and that's it, right?
Right, man. You know what? Funny you should say that, because actually that came a little bit later on in life. I had moved out. I wasn't living in Chicago then. I was living in Texas, and there was a time period in my time there that I actually did hustle a little bit. I did transport crack rocks and stuff like that. I did do that, and once again, God had His hand on me, because I'm up here just moving stuff and not realizing that I'm putting myself in some danger.
So, what do you think of the quote unquote standoff between women and men, particularly black women and black men on YouTube? What's your take on that?
What was the question again?
What's your take on the quote unquote standoff between black men and black women here on media, on YouTube? What's your take on it?
Unfortunately, I think a lot of them are perpetuating stereotypes of things that neither one of us can live up to. It's like you got black men who want black women to stop wearing weave and makeup, and black women who want black men to have a whole lot of money or what have you. But all this other stuff that's going on right now, that's really extra. Do people get into arguments? Of course people get into arguments, that's natural, but a lot of this other stuff is just nonsense, and quite frankly, both sides are really getting on my nerves with it, and that's both sides.
What bothers you the most about this quote unquote gender war? What bothers you the most?
Well, I don't like the fact that a lot of black men happen to just be just straight up doggish toward black women and not wanting to protect them and want to throw them to the wolves and won't step up for them. And then I don't like the fact that a lot of black women are just trashing all black men, saying that there's nothing good about us, and that's why they advocate for them to date white men and stuff. I don't like that either. Do
you see an end to it anytime soon? Do Do you think this is ever going to get any better as far as black men and black women on YouTube? You think it's ever going to get any better?
You know what? It's kind of hard to answer, and I'll tell you why. A lot of these people are really speaking out of cowardice, because a lot of these people that's on YouTube talking all that rhetoric are not going to really say it to your face. They're not going to say it up close and personal. A lot of them are, you know, the one thing about the internet, it's been known as the great equalizer. And when YouTube came around, that gave face to a lot of people you would not see up close and personal. I mean, a lot of people, they became instant tough guys when YouTube came around, because now you can hide behind an avatar and you can change your voice and you can be as big and bad as you want.
Very true. What used to be the moniker of YouTube? YouTube, you are the star. That's what it used to
Right?
be, right? You are the star. So everybody on YouTube has their own freaking, you know, all of us on YouTube, we have our own quote unquote network, if you will. You know, we have our own, our own damn we have our own damn TV channel. So of course you can say and do all kinds of crazy mess that you wouldn't be caught dead doing in real life. And see, I'm sort of like Brother Theron and the Black Avenger. See, I have the resources and the reach, to get at a brother, because see, I travel, so I can get at you. I can meet you wherever you want me to meet you. Okay, I could be on a plane tomorrow. So I tried to stop. I don't like going into that whole beef stuff anymore, because like the two previous brothers that was on here, guess what? If I'm getting at you, now I'm really ready to get at you. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready to come to your damn city, all right, walk up on you. So I mean, I try to stay away from that kind of stuff, man, because because a lot of these people that's on YouTube, man, a lot of the shit that they talk, man, they ain't ready for it. They talk what they're gonna do, what they will do to somebody, and in reality, they not, man. You walk up on them dudes, man, they gonna do shit. Okay, you catch them coming out of grandma's basement, they ain't gonna do shit. So what's your whole take on that? What's your whole take on this whole YouTube beef, with people threatening to do this and do that to other folks? What's your whole take on that?
Oh man, Brother X, you just hit the nail right on the head, and I'm so glad you asked me that question, because I can really go in on this particular. So you got, okay, like I was saying, basically a bunch of keyboard tough guys, people who would never otherwise say it to your face. Now they got all the keys and avatars at their disposal, and you got people who are just cowards by nature. I mean, some of the stupidest things I done heard people say, that, oh, I'm gonna pull up on you. How you gonna pull up on me 3,000 miles away? I mean, and then the term YouTube beef, that very term is an oxymoron. I'm like, the last time I heard that when you had a beef with somebody, you all were like right by each other or something. Now you got these people that's talking about one another, and I see and hear it all the time. You got one group of YouTubers who don't like another group of YouTubers for whatever reason, calling them all kind of names and stuff, and threatening each other, and no one never does anything. I think it's for better choice of words, it's a shit show.
I agree, man. I agree. Like I said, that's why, man, I don't get involved with that shit, man, because, I've had people come at me and I tell them right off the rip, catch a plane. Yeah, go ahead, catch a plane, man. Roll your ass up to my house. Don't plan to leave, but roll your ass up. Yeah, show up. Show your ass up. just don't plan to leave now, but you can definitely show up.
I agree.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that now with with so many people on media that we don't really, because we're all kind of content creators, even people who have little channels, you know, because my platform isn't that big, but I know people platforms who are smaller than mine. So not only are we people who, you know, put out material and do live streams like this and make pre-recorded materials, we're also people who watch other folks' materials. So do you think that many of us make better fans than we do people who create video material?
You're asking, do we make better fans?
Yeah, do some of us, would some of us just make a better fan than someone who actually puts out content and material? Maybe we should stick to just watching as opposed to making shit.
I think I see what you're saying. Some people probably should just be seen and not heard, and just watch, just sit back and watch the show. Yeah, that makes sense. Some people don't need to never ever be in front of a camera because they could do more harm than good.
Well, I often say that I do this to open people's minds, okay? I don't do this to try to make people think like me or try to make people think like, you know, the people who subscribe to me and follow me. That's not what I do. I don't do this for that. What do you think most people on YouTube or media, what do you think they're on this for? What do you think most people's reasons are for being on YouTube in the first place?
Well, some people do want to be. They want to show their ratchetry and they want to show their nonsense. Some people do want an opportunity just to buck dance and just be buffoonish. Unfortunately, it's basically a digital minstrel show.
So do you see things like YouTube and other media? Do you see it getting better, or do you see it getting worse?
Well, maybe for those people, but overall, I'm gonna be real honest. I think YouTube is a great platform, and I think we can make it work. Just I think we just need to do what we just do. I mean, the platform is meant to be enjoyed. I mean, by all means, enjoy yourself and create content. And I'm not necessarily getting down on people who do foolish things. Just remember this: there are people watching you. That's all. Just keep that in mind, that there's eyes on you.
Do you think that because, you know, many of us, we have so many people watching us, is there things that we shouldn't even have on here? Is there things that we shouldn't even do or say on here?
Yeah, of course, definitely, because in this age of technology, one thing that's definitely for certain, you know what when they say that anything can like in the court, anything you say can and you will be used against you in the court of law. Well, technology has made it even more so, because they could easily pull up that digital footprint and they can pinpoint you when you said it, how you said it, with whatever vitriol you said it with, and be just accurate. And this is one thing I want to say too, because I've actually had a couple of people here recognize me from my channel. So I really believe that you do have to have some form of decorum. I think once you start getting seen, I really do think you do need to start moving differently. You need to start behaving a little bit differently, because you do have eyes on you now, and people can recognize you. And just so happens, like when you do get into these so-called YouTube beefs and start calling people out, you never know that somebody you got into it, you just actually might run across that person, and then what you gonna do?
Exactly. I totally, I totally agree, man. Because see, this is something that we kind of don't understand. You know, I mean, if you're gonna say something, man, you have to be willing to stand by it. You know, that's kind of how it's supposed to be as a man. I mean, whatever I say, I stand by. All right.
Yeah, you gotta
So
own that. Yeah.
yeah, if I'm talking about running up on you, if I'm talking about running up on you, guess what? That means I'll really run up on you. Just like if you talking about running up on me, I'm really expecting you to run up on me. I'm expecting you to do whatever you say you're gonna do. Because see, if whatever I say I'm gonna do, I'm gonna do it. All right. So if you talking about doing something, see, I'm expecting you to do that. So I'm always going to be watching out for you. So if you're saying that kind of crap about me or someone else, you need to be at the very least expecting them to run up on you, especially if you're talking about running up on them. That's kind of how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? Because if somebody talking about running up on me, guess what? I'm expecting them to do that shit. So you know,
Hmm.
you better be watching out for me too. All right, you
Exactly.
bet you better be, because you done said you're gonna run up on me. So I'm looking out for that every time I walk down the street. Now I'm expecting you to come from around the corner. You know,
I mean,
so
the best example. This happened in the days way before YouTube. Okay, think about it. Andrew Cunanan, he just walked up on Gianni Versace and just shot him, and I don't even think he had a beef with him. I think at one time they were amicable before something snapped in him, and he just ran up on him and just shot him, and just like that. I mean, and this was in the days before social media.
yeah, I think we need to be careful about that kind of stuff, man. Because I mean, like I said, man, a lot of us should be talking that bullshit, man. And you know, I mean, I'm an older guy now, but shit, man, when I was younger, man, when I was in my 20s, man, I'd be on a goddamn train, plane, automobile so goddamn fast, man. On. I would walk right up on you, boy. What now? Okay. So I'm an older guy now, so I ain't gonna go through all that. I'm not gonna go through all of that. But I'll say again, if you talk about doing shit to me, I'm expecting you to come out of every bush that I walk past. I'm expecting you come from around every corner that that I'm walking by. So, you know, I think that we get a little too into this kind of stuff sometimes, man. You know, we go to thinking that, you know, we go to acting like we sitting in a room as opposed to, you know, sitting online talking to each other. You know, we at one hand on one hand we act like we sitting in the same room with each other, but on the other hand we are glad that we are not. You understand? We
Yep.
we we talking like we in the same room, but on the other side of that, we glad that we're not. Um, well, I'm gonna ask you a few more questions before I cut you loose. So now that media is media is pretty big, okay? Media is a good size now, and there's no denying that, especially on Black YouTube. Where do you see where do you see this going in the next, say, 5, 10, 15 years?
Oh well, I've heard different accounts of what might happen, but they may, I don't know, they may I've heard people say that they might have us pay for it and stuff like that. It won't always be free, but I believe that what's up, Doc? How you doing? I believe that it'll it'll definitely enhance. It'll get better.
Do you think it will force us to have better quality material? if we have to pay, as opposed to, you know, we just get it for free. We can slap any old thing up here. Will it force us to get better at this if we find ourselves having to pay for it?
I think we should want to do better. I think by default, you should want to improve your channel anyway. I definitely want to. I mean, I'm using this phone, but I want to start getting more professional equipment and stuff.
Well, do you think that that's what it may be about? Because, you know, we all know that YouTube is changing. Okay, it is changing. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe they want to eliminate the channels that are being ran by phones and stuff, force the people out who aren't really equipped to maybe pay for it. I mean, I could afford paying X amount of dollars a month, you know, to get this up, you know, but many people can't. I mean, you got some people, you know, they live in their grandma's attic. So, you know, they can't afford to, you know, to pay X amount of dollars a month. They don't even pay for their own damn internet. God damn it, grandma pays for it. So would you think it was a bad thing if it forced some of those people, you know, quote unquote, out of the game? Would that be a bad thing?
Yeah, definitely agree with you on that. Oh, that's a good question. Do you think it'll force? Well, you know what? I wouldn't necessarily say it'll force us out. Like some people are just satisfied to use their phone, and maybe that works for them. I only do it out of necessity, because I really do want to get my message out there. But believe me, as soon as I get in a position to where I can get better equipment, that's exactly what I'm going to do.
So let me ask you this. Do you think that some of us, you know, because, you know, we sit on these panels and, you know, we talk the talk and you know, we circle around particular topics. Do you think we talk about some of the shit that we talk about? Are we beating a dead horse in many cases, or multiple dead horses?
I think a lot of us use old narratives that have been talked about before. I think the time is to stop talking and just start doing. And I'm speaking to myself as well. And because I'm trying to think, well, what can I do more of to help? I mean, I'm not saying you're going to do something, make results overnight, but at least if you're making an effort, if you're putting something towards something, you're probably doing more than anyone. I mean, like you said, you have your own shop. Well, you work on people's cars. Well, that's a service that you're doing something right there. You're keeping people on the road.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hire brothers too. You know, I mean, I'm actually today I spent all day going, you know, going through my books and seeing how many people I'm going to be able to hire, you know, this year. You know, that's what I was doing like half the day today, trying to freaking figure out how many people I can afford to take on. You know, how many people can I afford to take on? I mean, I have two guys that I have with me full time. You know, they're around me. You know, they've been with me for 4 years. You know, they're my two go-to guys. I usually have a maximum of 7. I don't know. I may try to go to maybe 8 or 9 this year. You know, I gotta kind of fudge some things, you know, move some numbers around. You know, that's what I was doing all day today, trying to figure out how I could finagle that. Um, but what does that look like though? Because, you know, we often talk about, you know, we do all this talking, it's time for action. You know, people write it in your chat room, you know, enough talk, you know, time for action. What does action / doing something. What does that look like? What does that look like?
Well, it depends on what a person's able to do. I mean, if you go do as much as, say, send a donation to a GoFundMe. Like, for example, a few weeks ago, Information Man had Sister Melissa McKinney on his platform, and he put up the link to her GoFundMe for her son, for Donnie GoFundMe. Well, a lot of people donated that. I'm one of them. That right there, you're doing something. You're doing that. That's something right there you're doing. I mean, everyone can't hop on a plane and travel places. Say like Phil from the Advice Show, who can travel to Africa like that. I mean, no one's asking you to do something majorly big. If you do something small like that, you're doing something. I mean, think about the woman in the Bible. She had like a couple of mites, and a mite was a unit of money back then. Whereas all the guys and stuff, all the dudes, these important figures, they were throwing large sums of money. But when she put those mites in there, people looked at her like she was crazy. But she put more than they did because she did it from her heart, whereas they did it from their abundance. So what am I saying? Is whatever you can do, if you take the smallest step, you've done something big. Until you can do something bigger.
Got you. Well, we're about to wrap this up, man. Any final words before we peel out?
Well, Brother X, I appreciate you bringing me to your prestigious platform. I was glad to really chop it up. And like I say this to people, the way that you see me online, I'm pretty much like this in real life. I mean, I don't make myself to be bigger than what I am. I don't make myself to be smaller than what I am. I just really just try to be Aaron. I'm like, that's why I'm the real Aaron Collins, because I simply am just me. And I would encourage other people to just do you. Just be yourself and do the best you can, and everything should be all right.
I agree. I totally agree, man. Like I said, man, I appreciate you coming through, brother, chopping it up. This was good to be able to pick your brain a little bit, man. Because that's what we do here on the T.P.O.T YouTube page. And anybody who wants to subscribe to Brother Aaron's channel, look down there in the description box, right down there with the other brothers. Go ahead and click onto his channel and support the brother. Subscribe to his channel and listen to the things he has to say. Your black behind might just learn something, for Christ's sakes. So once again, brother, I appreciate you coming through, man. I enjoyed this, man. Good stuff tonight, brother. And don't be no stranger. Don't let this be the last time you come through, all right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You got it, brother X.
I appreciate it, man. Peace.
I appreciate you. Appreciate you, Chad, also.
All right, brother. I see you on the other side, man.
All right.
Yeah. Just got off the line with my man, Aaron Collins. Brother Aaron's channel, right down there. Let me say that once again. Right down in the old subscription box. Check out the brother's channel. And go ahead and check out Brother Theron's William channel. Also, check out Black Avenger TV as well. All those links right down there. Can't say that enough. So, good show tonight, everybody. I appreciate everybody coming through tonight. I appreciate people actually hitting the like button with very little coaxing. That's always appreciated. But what I need you to do now that the show is over, I need you to go to Prophet of Thought series on Facebook. That's Prophet of Thought, one word, series, the other word, on Facebook. That's our main page. It's a community page. Like the page, share the page, follow the page. Always come to the page. You can actually leave me a message on that page as well. I always answer back within the next 24 hours, never more than 24. I will be answering your messages if you leave me one. Also, While you're there on Facebook, get on down to the T.P.O.T bandwagon page. That's a personal page. You actually can leave that page a friend's request, and I will make sure that that request gets accepted really, really quick. And while you're there, being that you're already on Facebook anyway, you might as well get on down to the Prophet of Thought Series fan group page. That's right, the Prophet of Thought Series fan group page. Get on down there, request to be a member. I'm sure you will get accepted quick. If you have problems to the group, just drop me a line and I'll make sure that, I'll talk to my admins and, make sure they get you in there. Cause I know sometimes we've been experiencing some group member technical difficulties. And like I say to y'all all the time, don't feel or not, my stuff gets blocked. My stuff gets held for review. Can you believe it? So every now and then I have to jump on my damn every now and then I have to jump admins, man, because they have my shit held up. You know what I'm saying? My shit be held up. So don't feel bad if your stuff gets if your stuff, old X will take care of it. Just drop me an email. So I don't know what just happened there. Y'all probably missed everything I said, but you know my spiel. Also, get on down there and check us out on WhatsApp and Instagram. That's right. Proper Thought on ahead. Forget a follow back. And here we go again. Here we go again. I need you to get on down there to T.P.O.T Media on Twitter. That's T.P.O.T Media on Twitter. I'll say it again. The handle is at T.P.O.T Media on Twitter. Get on down there. Follow us on Twitter, because if you don't, I will haunt you forever. Once again, I want to thank everybody for coming. I want to thank my Raiders. I also want to thank you for coming out, watching us, and spending time with us tonight. And I want to thank my most distinguished guests, Brother Theron Williams, Black Avenger TV, and Brother Aaron Collins for coming through tonight. It's a good show. And once again, if you want to check these brothers out, their information is right down there. So, oh, hold on. Also, tomorrow, y'all know it's DXL night, right? DXL on the T.P.O.T YouTube page. Tomorrow, we will be talking about fighting the female special guests. Come a few new faces gonna be up on L joint tomorrow. I know we usually have some of the usual suspects, but tomorrow we're gonna have some new faces coming through. So you might want to be around to see who comes through tomorrow. Once again, 9:30 p.m. Eastern time on the T.P.O.T YouTube page. You know it's DXL. So with that, I will leave you with 3 words. Like I always do, open your minds. And we are out of here, y'all. Peace, folks.
Let us open our minds.
I know leadership don't need to retaliate. If we don't stop, in the parade, they celebrate. Eat caviar, drink champagne. In the parade, they celebrate. At the death of a child, I'll say, I'll never say, hey, yeah. Remember your forefathers' tears. lost. For us to see peaceful years when shots stop, who remains flat. If people pray, they celebrate. Eat caviar, drink champagne. If people pray, they celebrate. At the death of the child of a slave. Proper thought. Open our mind. If we don't stop, open our mind. The child of a slave. Proper thought. Open our mind.
T.P.O.T. Open your minds.